All right. Coming to you live from We The People Podcast Network. I want to welcome you to this week's Politically Correcting Podcast. It is a special edition. Special edition if you haven't seen. How we do this? That right there. Midterm elections are tonight. So we're going to be having some great conversations surrounding what people are seeing, what's happening around the country with the elections, how people are viewing, how they're going to be voting. So let's just have some conversations. I'm going to have my co-host, Lavelle Lewis here.
Gia.
Austin on the ones and twos. Hello.
Hello. I don't have a mic today.
No mic.
We've got some guests here tonight as well. We got Bernie Yacovangelo. We got Dr. Baker as well, Clayton Baker here. Second time on. He had a fantastic time last time. We had a fantastic time with him last time. So we wanted to just bring on different guests and just have a conversation around what we're seeing in the political spectrum and just bring common sense. Bring some common sense to this nonsense out here. But first, as always, everyone get your drinks out. Let's toast. We got your waters, got your champagne. He's already celebrating. Let's toast to the ability for all of us to have a drink with another person, have open and honest dialogue, and being able to walk away always still being friends. Salud.
Salute. Salute.
All right, we always start with we start with the toast first of all, but we'll start with the verse of the week, which is going to lead to a story which just happened to me literally an hour ago. It was insane. Can't wait to tell you. Psalms 37, 8-9. Refrain from anger and turn from wrath. Do not fret. It leads only to evil. For those who are evil will be destroyed, but those who hope in the Lord will inherit the land. So refrain from anger. I think we've been seeing a lot of angry people in the world lately. People who just can't seem to fathom that we don't always have to agree on everything. I was walking my dog. A guy who lives maybe 4 doors down from me decides that he wants to stop me in the street. I'm walking. He comes out of his vehicle, parks it, screams at me. Are you the guy that represents the Northeast District? No, I represent the Northwest District. Is that 14621? No, it's not. It's this area right here. He's okay. Are you a Democrat or Republican? I'm a Democrat.
Well, this didn't happen an hour ago, did it?
Yeah.
An hour ago?
An hour ago. An hour ago. Yes, I'm a Democrat. It's like, you're elected, right? I'm like, yes. He's like, well, the 14621 doesn't want that Joe Pinion sign on your front lawn. I said,
whoa.
Okay. He goes, fuck Joe Pinion. Like, he's swearing at me, flicking me off in the middle of the street in my neighborhood. I'm talking to a guy that lives 4 doors down from me. I've had to knock on his door, let him know his dog was off the leash outside, roaming around the streets. This is how we're living today, where you can just be so angry at somebody over a sign, number one, and number two, just voting differently from that person. That person has a Biden-Harris sign in their window. It's been there for the past 3 years. I don't care. That's never prevented me from making sure that his dog got home. That's never prevented me from knocking on his door and saying, hey, I'm here to talk to you about this person who's running for this position. It's never bothered me that much to a point where I would ever think of flicking somebody off, a neighbor.
You done fucked up the church's money now. You can't go back now. What are you gonna do if that dog get loose next time?
I'll still make sure. No, I'm not gonna call it a city. I wouldn't do it just because I just wouldn't ever. And my wife said it. She was pretty much right there, and she's like, "What just happened?" But the guy was just yelling at me for a Lee Zeldin sign, which let me be very honest with you. I'm not excited about voting for Lee Zeldin. I was not excited about voting for Lee Zeldin. I was just happy to not vote for Hochul. That was it. Like that's literally the only reason for the sign.
But it's fair. But you know, if we really think about it, you know, we talk about a democracy, about freedom and liberty and everything else. But yet we want to tell people how they must think, how they must act, how they must, you know, place signs, what type of sign, and so on, based upon what they believe in or what they want to, you know, follow. That's what's going wrong. You talked about it earlier, common sense. But no matter what registration you are, you still have the ability to have common sense and to accept that there's going to be competition. You got kids, they go to school, they get into sports, there's competition. They don't want to be in sports, they get into other, activity. Could be
Music,
chess.
art. Yeah.
There's
anything.
competition. Even the marching bands, they have competitions across the state.
Mhm.
Now, you can't start saying, well, you can't support that they're an opponent. No, you can support who you feel you'd like to support.
You would
And
think.
You would
that's
think, yeah.
what now you're trying to take away the free choice that the good Lord gave us.
Right.
That's not proper. And it's not common sense.
Right.
So, that's just my view on it.
The participation trophy, when that really started to hit hard, I was wondering, like, wait a minute, a participation trophy? Why? Like, what's the whole point of coming in first place?
You know what's funny is that we didn't ask for that because it was
No,
kind of like around our generation when it started.
Well,
and-
no, I was out. It was my son's, like,
Oh, okay.
like it was probably yours because
Might have
my
been mine.
my brother was getting participation trophies. I'm like, yo, bro, you didn't even do nothing.
I'm an exennial. I was born in 81, so I'm right between a Gen X and a generation millennial. So we still have the work ethic without the crying, whiny baby noises that they make, I guess.
Poor guy.
Well, and look at, I think that there's been too many influences on that type of situation. Of course, a lot of it goes with the fact that we got more money today than we did when I was a kid. When I was a kid, we had to develop a little league team for the 19th ward.
I was gonna say you're from 19th Ward, so that's
You got to remember there's all these, kids, and all these boys. You had to try out for one team. You would get 45, 50 kids trying out. And there was only going to be 20 kids selected for the team.
Mhm.
So,
as it should be.
but the point is you had to compete. Now, what it taught you is that I'm not going to get cut again. I'm going
Right.
to work hard.
Work harder.
I'm going to get together, more time. And we used to call it sandlot because we go down to the fields with no coaches, no training session, and we put our own on, and we developed a creativity. And as soon as 3 guys showed up, you say, okay, we can play home run ball.
Mhm.
4 guys would play 2v2. But what it does is really heighten your accountability, your responsibility, and your creativity.
Holding yourself accountable.
Yeah, and how you're playing the game. Everybody's going to try to bend the rules a little bit. Call it a different way. But we've gone too far in everything that we do. We tend to have gone too far, and that's why I think that the kids of today have great talent. They're very bright, and too much parental involvement is not the best for their own individual growth and problem solving.
Jordan Peterson talked about that. He said, as long as the kids are doing, they might be doing something harmful, but as long as they're being, safe about it,
Yes,
they'll learn. They'll learn the right way to do it. If they get hurt, it's all right. Like my son, first time he ever climbed a tree, I'm talking, he was older. And I was like, wait, you've never climbed a tree, have you? And we had just bought the house. He's like, no, I've never climbed a tree. I was like, climb this tree right here. We have 2, 3, 4 trees in my yard. Climb this tree, it was a little tiny tree. And he ended up falling. And the worst thing that can happen on the first time you ever climb a tree is to screech your entire front side along the bark of the tree falling down. The worst thing that could ever happen to the kid. I mean, he cries, he runs inside, and Edna was like, why would you let him climb a tree? I'm like, what do you mean? He's a boy. He has to get hurt. It's okay. It's
Listen,
okay.
we grew up on King Street. We didn't have all the toys, but we had trees.
Mm.
We had buildings. We were climbing anything, and we were making competition out of it.
Mhm.
Who could climb the
Who climbed,
fastest
yeah.
and the highest?
Get up the highest. Yeah.
Well, we got a doctor here. How resilient is the body to be able to resist, a few nicks and cuts there as a kid, as a child?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that we're at a point now where we protect kids in some ways. We basically shield them more than protect them. We prevent them from doing things that are healthy, like, get outdoors and make your own fun, which I think all of you guys are talking about. And yet, when it comes to, again, common sense things like make sure that poor kids are in school so they can actually learn. We've got all these brilliant ideas that, oh, well, there's a virus, so we're going to keep them. They're going to be on the computer for 2 years. And now we see what happened. I mean, I was here a year ago hollering about that. And the kids are home in hybrid school, and it was a disaster. And they go back and they got to wear masks. And now everything comes out, and lo and behold, everything that we said was correct. Nobody says, hey, I'm sorry, you were right and we were wrong. That's the last thing they're
No, they want amnesty.
Right.
Now they want amnesty.
Right.
And so, how do you here's my question. This is the height of arrogance, is to ask for amnesty and at the same time never admit you did anything wrong. Now, where does that come from? If you
Right.
didn't do anything wrong, why do you need amnesty?
Right.
And if you did something wrong, why won't you admit it? And that's what we're dealing with. And Bernie, you're very diplomatic, but I mean, this is the left. This is the far left. This is the far left. I'm sorry. This is not coming from the right. It's not coming from the center. It's coming from the far left.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we're dealing with now, is we're dealing with this situation that you don't want somebody, potentially, if your ideology is far enough out
Right.
there, you don't want somebody to be self-sufficient.
Yeah.
If they can climb the top of that tree on their own, God knows what they can do. If they're going to disobey you and go out and climb that tree, they're going to disobey you when they tell you to stay home and don't go to school for 2 years.
Well, I want to know where did it change though? I mean, we can look at everybody on this, on this panel today. We got so many different generations separating everyone from reality today. So from when, Bernie, like you're just talking about what was going on, how you created your own Sandlot, game. That's where the name came from.
That's where the movie came from. Was
that
Bernie.
era, right?
Exactly the way it was.
Right. It's the way it was. And then just looking up as we got older, like we saw that movie, you know what I mean? And it just took us back. We were emulating that, but where now? Because kids don't even play outside.
No.
I've driven.
They do in the virtual outside.
How many, when you're driving on the street, how many football games have you broken up and driving in the middle of the street?
I almost ran over a football the other day, and I was surprised. Like the kid almost just ran in front of me. Like he didn't know that he had to stop for traffic. And I felt like that was his first time ever playing outside with the football. And I'm like, and he looks back at his mom, like mad at her for, I don't know what. I'm like, be safe, go play, please. And I see kids outside playing in my neighborhood, playing basketball and stuff. I freaking love it. And I tell my son, go play with them, go play, go make friends,
Economics is a fundamental driver of that. When you get to the suburbs and every kid's got this, the games in the house that they're playing, they're playing them internationally now with smart TVs and everything.
Yeah.
Years ago, and you go to the cities now, they got kids playing basketball like it's going out of style. You go over there on Scioto Street, they got the basketball court filled. People waiting to get their turn.
I have constituents complaining about kids playing outside, playing basketball out in the street too late, and I'm like, God, like I can't see myself complaining about that.
Yeah, you can't,
because it needs to happen. You're absolutely right. These kids, I mean, we all need more vitamin D in our lives. That was like the biggest thing when they said just stay home and don't go outside at all during the pandemic. I was like, what? Probably the best thing during that was me being able to go on my walk and not see anybody and just walk through the woods. And Turning Point Park is my favorite park. Obviously, it's in my neighborhood. Walking through Turning Point Park down to the river and just having such silence. And then seeing people get mad at me because I didn't have a mask on was just absurd to me, that you're outside in the beautiful nature and they're telling you not to do that. And they're going to close down, your health clinics, or you're going to close down your churches, close down the gyms. We're going to keep open fast food. We're going to keep open McDonald's, Burger King,
and
the liquor store.
And the liquor
Well,
stores.
store is wide open.
Well,
I mean, I wasn't too mad about that, but I'm just saying.
What about all the studies now that said those blue masks that everybody was buying?
It was the worst. They all came from China too.
Yeah.
All
They
of
didn't
them.
stop anything.
No,
the virus is so small.
I don't think they needed a survey, or not a survey, but a test for that. Like it said from the beginning how small the microns were. I don't think we were. How small are COVID micron? Like
we got a doctor on the panel.
Right.
Like we got a doctor. On the panel.
What does that mask block?
The best analogy that I had was someone said it's trying to keep mosquitoes out of your yard with a chain link fence.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know, and if you look at
But you were silenced and you were censored because of saying something like that.
I was, and I, you know, they're still doing it. You know, we talk about the asking for amnesty for, even though they didn't do anything wrong, and they're still trying to take away Dr. Peter McCulloch's license.
Still?
They're still after him. He's the one of the main guys that spoke out nationally from the beginning about all of the COVID excesses. He's been right about just about everything. He's an absolutely preeminent guy. I mean, he's got hundreds and hundreds of high quality publications. And the Board of Internal Medicine is trying to revoke his board certification because they say he's a misinformation source. And, you know, the suits are in and so on. We'll see what happens. But, you know, what happens also is that these organizations just grab power. So, for example, the certification board for medicine used to have you pass your test once when you got out of your residency, and you were certified for the rest of your life. Okay, that was their job, was to make sure that you passed a board exam, and once you did, you're good to go. Well, a couple of years after I finished mine and passed my board exam, and I thought I'm good to go, they said, nope, now we're doing it every 10 years. So you got to come back every 10 years and do it. However, they grandfathered in people above a certain age, which is about 5 years older than me. So all the people in the higher reaches of that organization got themselves grandfathered in. They never had to take the exam again.
Was it an age thing or was
it an age thing? Yeah.
So even if someone came in after you, they just switched careers?
They didn't grandfather me in because I was too young, but over a certain age, you got grandfathered in. So all the people that made the decision grandfathered themselves in, but they didn't grandfather the junior physicians in, and everyone after that had to do it every 10 years. And this is the same organization that's now saying we're going to strip it because he's, quote unquote, putting out misinformation, when he's been right about everything all along. They're just after him now. And guess where they get their money from? Guess where? The American Academy of Pediatrics. Pharmaceuticals.
Yep.
The American Academy of Pediatrics, I think the number I heard 2020 or 21 was $35 million a year from Pfizer and, you know, Moderna and all these other places. So they are absolutely bought and sold. They're bought and paid for by these organizations. And there's absolutely, it's really distressing what's happened to the whole profession of medicine through this. And I think it was partly that you just become really aware of it now because everything came out in high relief during COVID, just like it did in so many other aspects of life. But it's also because things got so much worse. Things got so much worse because people saw an opportunity to make money that you can't.
And grab power.
And power, right? So the organizations are grabbing power and the companies are making money. So just one more factoid, the Pfizer supposedly brought in $54 billion with a B dollars from the COVID mRNA vaccines. And I can remember when I was finishing my residency, now that's 20 years ago now, but it was a blockbuster when something made $1 billion a year.
In the first year.
Right. So atorvastatin, you know, Lipitor was a blockbuster because it made over $1 billion a year. Viagra was a blockbuster because it made more than $1 billion a year. We're talking 50 times that.
Wow.
And it's something they want you to take every, you know, they're giving it to people 5 times. So how many, God knows how often they want you to take the thing.
Well,
There's
the best
flu shot on every corner.
for real. But what's happening in the elections this year is that Republicans are standing up and saying, we have a hard stance on this. And this is why I'm not going to lie to anybody. I've been very straightforward and honest the entire time with specifically Democrats. You're not going to, I have a hard line stance, right? And my thing is, if you were in power and you voted to keep my children out of school for 2 years, you voted to keep me out of business for at least 6 months. My business the esports gaming bar is now closing up shop because it was just far too many things we had to deal with because of COVID. That it's just, we just lost money the entire time. And so I lost a business, I lost an investment, I lost a ton of money. My wife almost lost her business. We had no idea when our kids were going back to school because every week was different. And on top of that, they wanted us to literally die
Mhm.
if you didn't have the COVID vaccine.
Mhm.
I'm not including everybody in this. I'm just saying, me myself, I didn't get it because I was like, I'm young, I'm healthy, I'm outside, I wouldn't say I work out, but I'm a good health. I'm good. When you sit there and tell me on the news that I don't deserve to fly somewhere or to go somewhere or to live or to go out to eat or go back to the gym, or if I wanted to, I would still want to, or to do really anything in life without having that. And then on top of that, when you were, even if you were vaccinated, you wanted to go out to eat, you still had to wear the mask while you walked through the restaurant until you sat down, and then you could take it off. And then when you went to the bathroom, you had to put it back on. Like, to me, it was just so much nonsense. So the hardline stance for me this year in the midterm election was, were you in power when COVID restrictions were in place? Yes or no? Yes. Did you vote to take my freedoms away? And would you do it again? It's as simple as that. So when we have Hochul up there saying, essentially, I would do it again, and I'm going to stick
In
this
an
vaccine
instant,
into all the
in
kids'
an
arms.
instant. They
Yeah.
take it away in an
Right. That's not okay with me.
And
So
they're
for
looking
me,
for
it's
and they're looking for the next opportunity.
Yeah.
To
they said it's
invoke-
coming.
Absolutely.
They're looking to invoke that power again, and it's a methodology to take away our liberty.
That's
Mhm.
it.
And that's it's not that they want to do anything more than have power,
Mhm.
money, control,
Mhm.
and keep everybody under.
Enslaved.
Mm.
There's no other word for
Exactly,
it. It's enslaved.
Enslaved. No question about it.
It's been a tactic though that's been tried for early.
But they succeeded
Yeah,
so
no, they
well.
but it's been gradual though.
Right.
Like even going back to the early 1900s, we know who the players are.
Mhm.
The players found ways to kind of conceal their identity behind
Philanthropic.
There we go.
Got you.
Alcohol.
What's Ronocoit? Public school system right there.
Right. But a bunch of these different types of groups, these, like the Bill Gates, Melinda Foundation, right? You got the Rockefeller Foundation, these Trojan horses. There's no allegedly. This is 100% factual. They were heavily invested in everything COVID, you know, and I'm just naming those two there at the top, but you look at where their money goes, their money usually goes to liberal agendas, liberal candidates, right? The Obama administration,
Liberal attorney generals, liberal governors,
liberal governors, and I mean,
farmland.
We know who the Bill and Melinda Gates donated money to for the presidential election, right? We already know who they supported wholeheartedly as the the head doctor during that time, Mr. Fauci.
Mhm.
We already know that they have relationships with each other.
The highest paid government employee.
Right. So
ever.
the average American are not going to be exposed to these different types of, connections, and they're not going to ask any questions. They're bombarded with so many different distractions. In order for any type of breakthrough, I think that can happen is there has to be some level of exposure that has to happen,
Well, you can only expose those who are. It's tough being in a political realm, as Bernie would know. You were past what, president of the Republican
No, I was a chair.
chair.
Oh.
Okay,
The man in the building right here.
Right.
In the county.
right
Just
for
in-
the county. Sorry, for the county.
That's
Fantastic.
big numbers.
Yeah, for real. Well, we see that, or we hear that Republicans who were running in the area didn't get very much, seemingly didn't get very much support from the Republican Party. I say that because my boy Joe Pinion right here. If you haven't heard about this man, I suggest you look up his. Man, I'm gonna fight for this guy.
Even if he doesn't win, a victory for him is pushing Joe Schumer to the limit, to the
do you
brink
think so?
of
though?
elimination. Yes.
Do you
And then
think
with
so?
it, what he does afterwards, I think is going to be very important because he should not stop talking.
But that didn't happen with Biden. Like, Biden was pushed to be a moderate Democrat because before that he was a racist white guy who
Still
put in
is.
free. He still is, absolutely.
Still is.
Absolutely. I don't care what anyone says. There's history there, history of racism with Joe Biden.
Yeah.
But he was pushed to be a moderate Democrat to run for president against Donald Trump, right? He wins and then becomes the complete opposite of a
Wait,
moderate
you should
Democrat.
put allegedly on that.
No, there's no allegedly. All I got to say to Joe Biden
Look,
is,
You know, as you talk about this, take a step back. What are the two things that never got traction anywhere, whether it's statewide or nationally, is two very, very critical items. Campaign finance reform, number one.
which they
And
talk
number
about all the time.
two,
Yeah.
term limits.
Mhm.
Oh, my
Now,
God.
you take those people that want to make this a career and they're there until they're 98 years old,
Mm.
incontinent and everything else, and they're still in the Senate. Everybody has come to believe that that's the kind of experience that you need. No.
Hell no.
One of the things that you need in the United States is term limits. First of all, without the ability to get all that power and get all that money and everything else, you'd find it difficult to find candidates that really want to serve the people
Mhm.
because I can only do it 10 years.
Mhm.
I can't get any campaign fundraising like I got today where they retire and they have $1.5 million in their campaign account. So what ends up happening, they're saying, well, what's the point of it? I'm not going to gain power.
Mhm.
I'm only going to be there 10 years. And now I just got to serve the people.
Let's do that.
You know,
How
that's
dare
what-
they.
why do you think it never got any traction?
Right. Well, Bernie, here's a question that you might know. How many times have you ever heard or read of in any situation, certainly never happened in the US presidency. I don't know that it's happened in any state governorships where they institute term limits and people find that to be unacceptable and they revoke it. I don't think I'm not aware of
Never.
it ever
No.
happening. I mean, have you ever heard of it happening in
No,
any
no.
context?
In
So-
fact, locally, think about it. The county ledge, all the legislator term limited. They got 10-year term. In the town of Greece, the supervisor and the town board members have term limits. And
And nobody howls when the guy's got to retire, right? They
No.
all live with it.
You know who
there's
doesn't have a
nobody-
term limit?
Nobody's petitioning to say,
Right.
this is not right.
Yep.
And they retire. Now,
City
they may
does
go
not.
on to another office or they may just, end their political career.
So it's got a hell of a batting average. I mean, it works wherever you
Yeah,
do it,
that's
right?
right.
Wherever you do it, and guess what? You get more service
Mhm.
for the constituents. Everybody talks about democracy. We live in a democracy. Well,
we don't.
don't confuse the fact that when you say the Pledge of Allegiance, it talks about a republic.
Correct.
Okay. And so the republic means that in our district or in our area or in our state, we elect a representative of the people to be there in government for us.
Representing our
In other
voice.
words, it's just one, it's like having a team, Doc. It's like having a team. Someone has to be the what? The captain. You go on the field, there's got to be a captain. And when the captain comes off, okay, and a sub or something like that, he's got to take the captain's bat.
Yeah. In soccer, he's got to put it on the other guy,
And you
right?
got to put it on the next guy
Right.
because there's got to be a captain.
Right.
That's fine. But term limits says we're here as the founders of this country wanted for us to be part-time and just to have full-time jobs at home, go do this periodically to represent our people in the states. Even the federal government was part-time. It wasn't what it is today. Think about the employment we got. Now, we got a big country. We do have massive economy going on. We got great corporations. We've got a hell of a military. There's so many segments. The hospitals years ago and the doctors, it was small time.
Mhm.
Today, it's big time. People live so much longer today because of the quality of our medical system. Really, our doctors and our hospitals and the things that they're finding about the body and ways to promote good health is just tremendous. The only problem is they developed a social security system for people to retire at 65 and start getting their money because they didn't figure they were going to last another 2 years.
Right.
Some did, because back in the day,
The life expectancy was 67.
Yeah,
Right. Said you
right,
could retire at
right.
65.
today, people are living to 92. We see the hundreds all the
Yeah.
time.
Mhm.
And so, and the quality of life is better. So my point is, we need to go forward with the fundamentals, because I never like to go back to basics. Let's go forward with the fundamentals. Education, doctor. There's nothing wrong with going forward with the fundamentals. Let's start making sure that our kids can read,
Mhm.
they can write, and they can do arithmetic. Now,
He's
That's
batting up.
What
here.
that's what I'm saying. Because like you say that those are like the greatest fundamentals and basic foundations a human being should have. But
absolutely.
it seems like there is this counter force that is
Yeah.
literally going against that, and it brings up anytime when folks talk about, oh, this is a spiritual like battle. It kind of really is, especially when you're dealing with medicine, you're dealing with just overall basic fundamental rights, and you're mixing that
Yes.
with just
Yes.
you know what I mean, like very serious things. You know what I mean, like doctor, you within just, and I can just tell just off of last time you were here, you really care about the human being, right? And then also your reasons for getting into medicine is because you want to help people.
Mhm.
Everything that you've seen so far, like it kind of counters everything who you are and the reason why you chose to do what you do.
Yeah, I think that there's there's 2 points that Lavelle you bring up that I think are worth commenting on from my point of view, if I may. The first is that in medicine, you've got 2 fundamentally competing different outlooks. And one outlook is essentially mine, because I practice primary care medicine. I see patients, and I used to teach a lot. I teach very little now, but other than the teaching, that's all I did is take care of patients. And when I take care of patients, I tell every one of my patients, my first responsibility is to you. It's not to the system. It's not to the population. It's not to, it doesn't mean I'm going to do everything you want. If you want something that I don't think is good for you, I'm going to respectfully say, I don't agree with you. I can't prescribe you that particular medicine or whatever. But my first, second, and third priority is you, the individual patient. I'm for you. And if I think that the risk benefit analysis for a particular therapy, like a jab, doesn't work for you, I'm not going to tell you you have to get it, period. End of story, full stop. Now, if you're in the public health realm, and I'm not making excuses for people, because I think in COVID in particular, there's a lot of money involved. There's a lot of influence involved, money, power, all the stuff that the politicians want. But if you're Fauci or if you're Mike Mendoza, I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say those folks don't give a damn about any one individual person that they don't know personally. They're looking at numbers, they're looking at populations, and they're willing to live with a few people dying from a bad reaction to a vaccine and so on. Period. End of story. Now, you can make a valid argument that, if it's the measles, mumps, rubella vaccine, and it really does keep measles from coming back, and 2 kids a year out of 75 million die of it at a population level, you can potentially say that's okay. But if you have that patient as your particular patient and you have any real reason to think that they're at higher risk, you're going to advocate potentially for them not to get that vaccine. Now you get one when it's mandated. And if it's mandated, it better be safe as can be. And these they're just not. And it better be as effective as can be, which they're not. We all know that now. They said you can't get it, you can't pass it. Pandemic of the unvaccinated. And I'm standing here a year ago saying this is nonsense. And now we all know it's nonsense. And now no one's denying it's nonsense. And now people, without not admitting they made a mistake or asking for amnesty for saying people like me were misinformation purveyors. This is the other side, the public health side, gone bananas, just gone completely crazy. If you want to do public health, You don't tell everybody don't leave your home for 2 weeks and then not have them leave their home for 3 months. Any
Yeah.
damn fool can tell you that that's not good for people's health. It's not good for their mental health. It's not. How much collateral damage are you going to do? Never was taught. Was it ever talked about? Did Mike Mendoza ever stand up and say, we're doing collateral damage here, but we have to? Did he ever say that? Never.
Never.
Did Adam Bello ever say that? Never. Just the opposite. Shut up and do what we tell you.
Yeah.
Now,
Or if you don't shut up, we're
Well,
going to force you to shut
right,
up.
we're going to force you to
Right.
shut up. We're going to call your business and we're going to shut your business down. It's at, Wegmans gets to stay open, but the corner store's shut.
Yeah.
Market View Liquor stays open, which I'm
Mhm.
somewhat grateful for. But anyways, it's, but the corner store shuts down.
Right.
Shut-
The shops that are within the black and brown communities.
Right. Shut up and do what we say.
Right.
And how much collateral damage do you have to suffer before people say, I'm not doing this? You're taking away my rights. And when does the collateral damage do more damage than whatever purported benefit you're creating? Never
Well-
was discussed, never was even allowed to be discussed.
And
that's
again,
why
they
those
were
people-
stopping people from even talking about it during the election, during
Yep.
campaigns. Like, again, I'm going to,
Mhm.
Joe Pinion talked about, he said, I don't believe we're in a pandemic anymore. I believe we're in an endemic.
Mhm.
Can you explain that? What does that mean?
The terminologies are they're definitional terminology. So basically, there's a formal definition for a pandemic. Endemic.
What it
is-
used to mean before, or does it still mean the same thing now? Because I know we're redefining things
we're,
these days.
we're redefining what
yes.
vaccine means. We're redefining what public health means. So,
Right.
Moving the goalposts.
it's a goalpost moving thing, but
It's
endemic.
fluid. It's fluid.
Endemic is something that essentially is constantly in the community to some extent.
Like
or
the
another.
flu.
Like the flu, like common colds. It's worth noting, and I'm not saying I know exactly where this coronavirus is going to go, but there's a number of, I don't know, 8 or 10 or 12. I don't know the exact number of viruses. Some of them are rhinoviruses. Some of them are adenoviruses. Some of them are coronaviruses, different coronaviruses that make up the so-called common cold. So there's a handful of them. And if you look at when they swab people when they have a cold, we usually don't bother, right? Because a cold usually doesn't make you sick enough to really track. But if you really do that, then supposedly, 30% are due to rhinoviruses or something. I'm guessing on the numbers, but then there's a handful of adenoviruses. That's another third. And then there's 2 coronaviruses that make up something like 15% of common colds. Well, where did they come from? They came out of the wild at some point in time, and they evolved into basically a common cold virus. That's where we're probably going with this. This thing will be endemic. It'll be there all the time. It'll come through. And now how many people are you seeing who are, I had a cold, I had a stuffy nose, I had some cough, I swabbed myself, lo and behold, I got COVID. Okay. Now what? It's not what it was.
Sit in your bed.
Right. It's
Like-
not what it doesn't mean it can't make elderly people sick. It doesn't mean it can't make, but so can the flu. The flu kills thousands of people every single year.
Before this whole thing,
Before this whole thing
Right.
happened.
Right.
a big-
before this whole thing,
Right.
we had a national average of 65,000 people dying from the flu every year.
every year.
Yeah.
And we didn't shut down society, nor
No.
should we
Mhm.
have. The Spanish flu, we lost many more people by population. They didn't shut down society, and nor should they have.
What about when I was growing up?
Right.
You got to remember, they had polio.
Mhm.
Throughout the
polio
world.
era, yeah.
Did that
And I
scare
gotta
you
tell
when
you-
you were younger? Like, did it scare the
Well-
crap out of you? Like, how do people?
Not real. It did in a way.
Because it's
But you
scary.
didn't- you
Polio
gotta
is freaking
remember, who was watching TV?
true. It was
Mm.
on
You got a
radio,
little
right?
bit, you know what I'm saying to you?
Mhm.
And so what happens when you're 5 years old then, and you see the kid in the iron lung,
Mm-hmm.
you start getting concerned. Or you see the kid that you go to sit next to in a classroom that's got problem with their leg because they got
Mhm.
polio. Now, you just went on.
Right.
You just weren't weak.
Yeah.
They didn't have to, I never heard of a school having a counselor. For what? We didn't have,
They didn't have counselors?
we didn't have a
fantastic.
nurse.
We did have
We didn't have a
No
nurse.
nurse at all. That's
What are you
fantastic.
talking about?
That's a fact.
Wow.
So
I didn't know that. I didn't know.
Are you kidding me?
I guess I never
great.
thought
This
about
is-
counselors. How
Right,
long they've been around?
right.
You grew up.
I always
Your
thought it
parents-
was in place.
The worst problem that we had, my parents were from Italy. and when they thought you were an adult at 8. I said, oh, I'm 8. I made a mistake. Dad, you
You're
wanted me
drinking
to
wine
get
at
this,
8?
they didn't think there was anything wrong with that
Right.
because, so when they were in Italy, you couldn't drink the water. So they made the wine, they didn't let it ferment long enough for it to get powerful.
Ah.
And so they had to have something to drink because the water, they just didn't have good water,
Right.
you know? They
That's
didn't
why
have-
Jesus did it.
Probably.
So, we have to look at the fact that every generation's had something, but they didn't shut down the United. You don't
Right.
shut
Right.
down the United States of America.
Well, they said you were choosing money over people.
No.
You're
no.
choosing
They're saying,
power.
why would you keep?
You're choosing power and
Right.
control
Exactly.
over people.
It's an excuse it's just like when they burned down the Reichstag, Hitler declared an emergency and took over and
Right,
he never gave
yep,
up until you
yeah.
declare an emergency and it's martial law. I mean, this
Yeah.
is, since when did public health become martial law?
Yeah.
It never has been in the
No.
history of history.
But if you've got one party control, you can get away with
You
it.
can get
Right.
away
Yeah.
with it,
You
right?
can get
And
away with it.
so-
Yeah.
So it's,
I was against shutting down because I says this is too big an engine. You
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
you take a flight on a 737 and mid-flight you say, well, shut everything down. Wait a minute. You
It's a bad idea.
It's a bad
Right.
idea. It ain't gonna work.
right.
You know,
And
You
have
shut a
everybody send a
country.
term.
So here's what happens. Builders go from being essential 1 week to non-essential the next.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You got all this product in the midst of construction, and they come out with a rule that says you can have one person per house that can work there.
Get out of here.
Wait a minute now. No, wait a minute.
What?
OSHA says you can't do that because if somebody has an episode,
Right.
who's going to call for emergency, help? No, one. So, and they let it go. We try to fight it. You try to fight it, you ain't going anyplace
Mm-mm.
because you're talking to the attorney general now.
Well, and they shut down the courts. So how do you get
Well,
it?
Yeah, you
that's
can't
what-
get in front
can
of
we
court.
say
Yeah.
this was kind of like an overall attack on the United States, period.
It was.
It was
On
a
everything.
complete
It's-
attack on the United States.
And so we got through it because I said, well, look, you can't shut us down because under the code and under the law, we got to get to full enclosure for safety of people that might go around the site. Is it okay? The attorney general says,
They only said that though. You had to fight them.
Mhm.
Oh,
You
yeah.
had to fight them to get
You
there
had to show
because
'em common
Veneto's was a
sense.
safe. Yeah.
and the law. You had to show them common sense and the law.
Remember, the only restaurants that were allowed to open up in the city within the city limits of Rochester were the ones who sued Andrew Cuomo. Those were the
Yeah,
only ones that were
correct.
allowed to open back up because they said, "All right, you
and Andrew,
won. He just
I
gave
got
up."
to tell you something.
Yeah.
They're all over certain members of the political system because they want them gone. But yet, he cooked the books, committed a fraud on the number of people
He's
that
a
died in
fraud.
the nursing homes,
Right.
and there's nothing said about it. I
Right.
mean,
No.
No,
no,
That-
he
whole
almost tried
time.
running again.
But that whole entire time, think about just again the attacks because we went from COVID and then we went into the Black Lives Matter. We went to attack on the entire air, and I've never seen this, right? I mean, back when the Rodney King riots happened, right? I'm watching it, right, as a kid. Oh, I forgot. I don't know how, maybe it was, yeah, I was still a kid, 12, 13, probably at the time. Not really fully understanding, but then the LA riots happened, right?
Mhm.
We had like 20 LA riots in the United States after COVID. That shows the strength of the country in itself because what other country could withstand, first of all, COVID? Your government shuts you down. Then the government pretty much lets an invasion happen into every one of your inner cities. And people think it was just natural, this natural thing. There was nothing natural about the last 2 years of living in this country.
No. It
No,
was no. I
and
talk.
they talk about it like it's just starting. Look,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you got to remember, in the early 1900s, the 1930s, something like that, Sacco and Vanzetti were tried and found guilty on something they never did. Okay, it was happening all the time.
Mm.
Okay,
Mm.
McCarthy during the early 50s, they were after him. The problem is when they want you, they go after you.
Right.
They're
It's
gonna get
simple.
you.
They're gonna find a way.
They gonna get you.
Well, just to let you know, we have a couple updates
oh,
for some
okay.
notable races.
Okay.
We've got Georgia, which is Raphael Warnock. She is going against
Stacy.
No, Herschel.
Herschel. Oh, that's that one. Oh yeah. Oh, they've been killing my man Herschel for no reason. It's like just bad.
Yeah, well, for a reason.
No, I understand the reason, but it's just bad. Like, yo, debate. Like, really talk about, an issue that separates you from Herschel Walker. Don't try and it's like they piggyback on the fact that he was a football player. And it's just so, to me, I consider the way they attack Herschel Walker blatantly racist.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. Well, yeah, you're gonna.
Yes,
I
I'm
think.
gonna say that because
But
the
I see it
people
as
that's attacking him.
He got hit in the head too many times, right? That's what they're saying with Herschel Walker.
Yeah.
But then you have, Fetterman in Pennsylvania that they're gonna run right behind and say there's
Crazy.
nothing wrong with this.
Crazy.
He
guy
doesn't
can't-
have a
But don't
brain
you
to get
understand?
No, he
They
doesn't.
pick
No.
and choose,
Right.
Yeah.
you know, arguments based upon the person they want to support,
Right.
Mhm.
or get rid of. Or get rid of.
Mhm.
And that's the difficulty. There's no standard. They want to eliminate
There is no
standards.
standard.
Right.
That's why they want to
Yeah.
burn
Right.
books. That's why I want to burn history. They do want to eliminate standards. What you will never eliminate, you're never going to eliminate, is slavery. You're never,
No,
because it's been around since humanity began.
Thank you.
And it's, we
Alive
talk about
and
it in
well.
the Bible all the time.
Mm.
The Jewish people were enslaved by the Egyptians for 100 years.
Israelites. The Israelites were enslaved.
So now it's gone on and it's still, any country has gone through it.
Right. It's never been a race thing until
now-
America in 1776 said all men are created equal. And the only reason why they wanted to keep their slaves, they said that their slaves were not, a full human being.
Yeah.
Other than that, nothing about race ever in the
No.
history of ever
No.
was slavery about race.
But even within that, conversation, some way, somehow, whoever's in control of the actual overall, and I hate using this word today because it's been used like it's literally like a mind manipulation word, narrative, right?
Mhm.
The narrative back during that time, though, was that there was only a small group at that time that were enslaved. There weren't, everybody that was that color weren't enslaved. There were free black folks walking during that time. So they knew the morality, that was the argument, the moral side to it. And then they had the argument with, you're adding religion into it because Christianity was, expanding during that time as well. So you had the moral argument. They approached it with a mature level of, how do we handle this problem today? The level of ignorance that we have today, it's supported by, number one, our terrible school systems, which has been, we go back to who's ever donating to the public school system, follow the money. That's the people who's controlling what our kids listen to, what our kids know, how they interact with their parents, the foundation that was set during the times where kids can literally get their behind whooped by their parents, right? I'm
their friends' parents.
Yo, I'm separated from no other generation other than the last era where you can get a whooping and you know what I mean? Like, and it'd be okay. Like the mother next door be like, yeah, you should have whooped his ass.
Right.
Right now it's like there's a conversation.
You go to jail. No, you go to jail.
Yo,
You go to jail.
come on, bro.
So now I meet this family. They're from Togo, in Africa. They came here. And one of the kids was playing for a soccer team, and they used to practice same time of the morning that we did out at TSC. So the older brother was same age as the kids I was coaching. His name was Jackie. And I said, you want to play on our team? You want to work out with us? He goes, yeah. So I said, you speak good English? He goes, oh, yeah, I'm from Togo. I said, well, that's in Africa. I said, don't you also speak French? He goes, yes. So we got to know each other.
Mhm.
Kid was a bright kid. I says, you're pretty good at math, aren't you? He goes, yeah. I says, how's that? He said, well, in school in Africa, they used the switch still.
It worked. It worked. It worked.
They
And
don't
this
play
kid-
over there,
this-
man.
No, hell no.
They still
There's
use
no
the switch,
genders.
and you
There's no
go
different genders in
prepared.
Africa.
No, but
No.
my point is, where you have an element, and I'm not advocating, for that. What I'm advocating for is
Discipline.
firm limits, structure,
Mhm.
and discipline, which
That's
can be done in many different, so that we can provide an environment in which a teacher can educate.
Yeah.
There's no discipline in our schools today.
No.
None whatsoever.
There's an excuse. There's an excuse, and I'm, again, I'm always gonna go and be very passionate about the community. That's always like, for some reason, I don't know why, somebody has to be chosen as like the distraction to the overall argument, right? The African American community can never get it right according to the the narrative.
Not without the help of the.
Not without the help, right?
liberal
With
left.
yeah, right. Without a Democratic Party saying that the reason why you're not smart is because of what happened to your ancestors years ago, right? Like, that's the most bogus bullshit that anybody can ever push on any group.
Mhm.
Like, that is suppression. That is oppression. That is the epitome of what they're trying to obliterate, but they're literally supporting it with that type of,
Right. I agree.
This is the definition I heard. That's being dog walked.
Dog walked.
So,
I know that you said you might have like 15 minutes, half hour. You've got an hour.
That's good.
Of
Time
talking.
flies.
is it time for me to go?
No,
time
you can leave whenever you want. Trust me.
Time flies.
We're gonna have
We
random
are
people
talking.
coming in and out all night. I'm just letting you know that I trust me. Whenever it's time, you let me know. But another update here. We got the U.S. House. It's showing. Oh man, it's showing in Indiana. Frank Mervin at 17% reporting. He's got 60, pretty much 61% of the vote there. If you look at who he is running against,
Was he Republican or Democrat?
Frank is the Democrat.
Hmm.
He's running against Jennifer Ruth Green. If you got the picture there, I sent you a picture of the two people there. This is one of the races that I really wanted to discuss because this has blown my mind that we have so many Black Republicans who are running against
Mhm.
white Democrats.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, being a Democrat, and the entire time I've been told we must uplift the Black vote, we must uplift the Black voices, we must uplift, we must preserve, we must coddle, we must care for, we must this and the other. This is one in which, all right, let's talk about it then. Did you get the
It's empowerment on the other side, man. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants a handout no more, bro.
Well, let me talk to you about handouts here. This is what Mr. Mervin has introduced. Here are some bills he has introduced. Got the HJ Res 53, which is proposing an amendment to the Constitution of the United States to prohibit the use of slavery and involuntary servitude as a punishment for crime. Do we? All right. HJ Res 64, Original Slavery Remembrance Day Resolution.
What the? Okay. All right.
I'm not done.
Oh gosh. Oh.
Not done. HR 5, Equality Act. It's an act to prohibit discrimination on the basis of sex, gender identity, and sexual orientation, and for other purposes.
That's not coming from him.
One more. Actually, yeah, one more. HR 40, a commission to study and develop reparation proposals for African Americans Act, a bill to address the fundamental injustice, cruelty, brutality, and inhumanity of slavery in the United States and the 13 American colonies between 1619 and 1865, and to establish a commission to study and consider a national apology and proposal for reparations for the Institute of Slavery, its subsequent de jure and de facto racial and economic discrimination
Jose, stop.
against African Americans and the impact of these forces on living African Americans, yourself,
Yo.
to make recommendations to the Congress on appropriate remedies and for other purposes.
Yo. There's so many things wrong with
Man, that was hard to read.
That was that. Yeah, like that is just so ignorant. Period. And I blame the Obama administration because for the most part, he did good with, bringing African Americans back to the political spectrum consciously, right? Consciously. However,
Yeah, bring that one up too.
the problem is, though, he was such a commercial president, and everybody that went up to listen to the speeches were getting all their information from the major news networks, the media. So anything that's coming through the media, anything that's coming through CNN, anything they see on MSNBC, that's when everybody got introduced to Obama through these news organizations. And who's the number one propaganda feeding news organizations in the country as far as coming from the left? CNN, MSNBC, ABC, etc.
And NPR.
And NPR. This right here, this resolution from the white guy.
Mervin. Yep.
This is the white guy that came up with this. Talk about pandering.
He's up against this woman is a U.S. Air Force.
We've gone from dog walking to pandering in about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Look at, I mean, she's a freaking pilot. She's an Air Force veteran.
No, there is no debate.
A very
right
strong
now
black woman, and right now she's losing.
because and again, it's
Vice.
crazy in
How
Indiana
many percent
too,
in though?
Percent in was
17%.
only 17%,
What district?
but
is
that
she?
was
yeah.
in it though. That was like
Is she in Indianapolis or Gary or something? Because if
Oh.
she's elsewhere, I think she may come out okay as
Yeah.
time goes by.
we'll find out. We'll find out because the other one is Yesli Vega that I actually wanted to talk
What's
about as
the
well.
major city in Indiana though? Indianapolis, right?
Right.
Yeah. So is that coming from there though?
Right.
Because that's probably where the most of those votes will go to this dork.
Yeah, exactly.
Like seriously, because and this is from my
That's not
own
nice. That's not nice.
my own observation from just dealing with, just from looking at the local race here.
Right.
Race is not a debate within the conservative party at all. The
No.
Republican Party is not debating or arguing race whatsoever.
Well, look who's running against Schumer.
Look who's running
Right.
it, right. Chuck Schumer,
Flat
out of
out.
anybody, right? Out of anybody, right? There is, I mean, to blatantly call a party the racist party is the most disrespectful and vile thing you can add into politics without any proof. There's actual proof of the Democratic Party starting the KKK back back in 1865, right?
Right.
Like it literally happened once slavery was emancipated.
Right.
So we have receipts within just history, and just this right here, man, this dude just looks like that is so crazy to me.
Well, the
This-
receipts go back further than that, of course, because you can go back to John C. Calhoun, you can go back to Jefferson Davis, you can go back to Nathan Bedford Forrest, to the KKK, right on down the line. I mean, it's Stephen Douglas, right? The
This
Douglas
is Robert Byrd, the most recent one.
Yep. So I mean, Al Gore's dad filibustered against the Civil Rights Amendment. So I mean, it's not that far away.
No,
This is not Indianapolis. This is Fort Wayne
Fort Wayne.
Fort Wayne. Where's Fort Wayne? Is that
in the
It's
up
near South
northeast.
Bend, Indiana.
northeast? Is it closer to? So it's probably closer to where?
Ohio,
Ohio.
in the corner of Ohio,
Sort of
and
like
Michigan.
towards Toledo or something like that.
600 people voted.
Because Gary is right outside of Chicago,
No.
and then Indianapolis right in the middle. So that maybe is the third
Fort
largest.
Wayne
52.
is right next to South Bend.
South
Indiana.
Bend, right near Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
52,000 votes in so far.
All right. We'll see.
So we'll see about
See.
that. But that's what they're putting as like the top. So what I'm doing is I'm Googling, I'm seeing what Google is telling me, right? Because I want to show.
So what? You never said anything about the Herschel Walker.
Oh yeah,
Who's
Oh
that?
yeah, we
what's up
totally
with that?
skipped
Yeah.
past that one. They were playing Herschel Walker, playing hardcore.
It's disrespectful.
But right now, Raphael is winning 56% of the vote versus 42% of the vote.
With how much percent?
With let's see, with 25%.
All right. We'll see.
So
See
what
where
they're
it's
showing
coming
is they're
from.
showing some of the notable races at the like they're
Mhm.
showing the top
Yeah.
notable races.
So Jose, does
but
that
they're
include-
calling it already as blue.
does,
So I want to see what the change happens.
they're calling Herschel
Well,
Walker?
they don't
as
want
losing?
anybody else going to the polls.
They're
as
not
well.
calling it. They're
No.
saying it's Right now, Alabama, South Carolina, Kentucky, Oklahoma, Illinois, Vermont, Connecticut, and Maryland are called in.
Okay.
All right, so
Mhm.
Kentucky is red. I think
They
that was a
want
given.
they want to turn Georgia blue so bad.
Right now, Georgia
Like-
is leaning blue.
And again,
Yeah.
just going back to like this war, I think we are at war, period. And,
Well,
and
who's
just
at war? Be specific.
the country itself.
Okay.
And its struggle for its identity to get back to some form of balance among the people. Georgia, for some reason, has turned into this battle state because
Because Hotlanta.
well, yeah, but
If you control Georgia, you control the black vote.
yeah, but you got again, Georgia's not the same. Georgia, you got so many transplants that came from the north down to Georgia
Okay.
to try and
Yeah.
find themselves or
Let
whatever.
me ask you. I still struggle with this. You know, you made that comment. You know, you control Georgia, you control the black vote.
That's what that's
what
as
they-
it
no,
seems.
yeah, that's
right.
that's
But
the-
that's
the
what- let's start
narrative.
Hold on,
with
I
that.
should say this here.
Allegedly.
Yeah, right.
Allegedly. Let's look at this. If everybody's saying we need to do more
Mhm.
for this minority group, you've had control
Mhm.
for 50 years
Mhm.
and it hasn't gotten better.
Mhm.
So I give you control for another 50 years. What is that, enslavement now?
Right.
Huh? Is it, no,
You
do
gotta
I need
ask
to
Killer
keep
Mike.
you?
Killer
Look-
Mike is
Look at
and a
really
spokesperson there.
has their life improved? And if you ask them, things haven't changed. But yet, the only reason why
It's
they
not that they
still-
haven't changed. It's gotten worse.
it's
gotten
gotten
worse.
but my point is it hasn't gotten better.
Right.
Right.
With all the promises,
Right.
with all the talk, guess
Mhm.
why? Do you know? It's because we don't want you to get smarter. We don't want you to get better. We don't want you to rise up where you can take care of yourself because you may become a free thinker.
Ah,
And once you got independence and you can think and have common
Mm.
sense, I become irrelevant.
Right.
We can't have that.
But the three states around Georgia, we got Alabama, South Carolina already called for Republican Party.
the heck?
Already called for, I'm sorry, for Senate, for U.S. Senate. Already called Alabama and South Carolina. Florida is, it's leaning right. So Georgia's leaning left
That's so weird.
at this point.
It's weird, but again, it's like one. It's just one
the Senate,
victory
again.
for that left side. It's a victory for them because again, if you look at the demographic of Georgia,
Same thing with
And
governor,
then-
though.
and also within Atlanta, and just like you said, they found a way to make victimization amongst the African American community
Mhm.
like acceptable. And if you go back and you look back in time when the majority of African Americans were Republican, the last thing they were trying to become was a victim.
Mhm.
Well-
There's no way, you know what I mean? No, we want to present ourselves as your equal intellectually, and physically, and and through everything that makes you a human being,
Mhm.
we are equal.
I do want
Now
to talk
it's
about
different.
that. I do want to talk about that because in the South, back in right after slavery days, the reason why the unions came about was because the blacks were creating businesses that were focused on the jobs, that were getting the contracts from both the government and from commercial contracts, whatever it was, to build. They were in the construction industry and they were killing it, absolutely killing it with their own businesses. The whites hated it. So they created the union to prevent the blacks from getting these contracts with the US government. And then said, we need the prevailing wage, because the reason why they were able to get these contracts was because they can pay their brothers, sisters, cousins, anything they wanted, because they were all family working together.
Mhm.
So here comes the union. Here comes the prevailing wage that was to block black business ownership from getting contracts with the state government, city government, county, whatever it may be. So if we're going to call the police racist because of what they were based on, are we going to say the same thing for unions?
Well, that's the huge argument with Martin Luther King and his quote unquote impact, right? Because he was a strong union backer,
Mhm.
you know, up in Detroit, right? The reason why the situation in Detroit went down is because they went and tabbed Martin Luther King and he did what he did. Martin Luther King has been kind of criticized for being a closet communist, which I believe. And
Well,
you
that's
know,
probably why we have Daniel Prue amphitheater inside of MLK Park.
Everything with the entire foundation with the union it's more based off of socialism anyway, right? You're trying to take something that's not yours and trying to, consume more of it for yourself. I mean, like that's it's more of, well, our employer, even though this is his creation, his idea, we deserve to get paid more. We deserve whatever. Like, that's the whole
which kills
based on-
teenagers.
right. So
Just to let you know, Illinois, Vermont, Connecticut, Maryland have now been called for Democrats for the U.S. Senate.
what was
interesting.
the states again?
We've got Illinois, Vermont, Connecticut, and Maryland.
Those aren't those. Maryland, sort of, but not really. Illinois is not. That's not a surprise.
What you really need to be looking at is maybe New Hampshire on that one.
Right. New Hampshire,
yeah.
Pennsylvania, Ohio,
Pennsylvania would be a good one.
Georgia, of course. I think Nevada this year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Arizona's a big one. Yeah.
North Carolina's still leaning blue. That's disgusting to
Well,
me.
we have a ton of New Yorkers that moved down there.
Yeah, but still,
ton.
that's just disgusting. But
Move over to the House because, I mean, well, first of all, they already assumed that the Republicans are going to win the House.
Well, do you think we will flip the script if New York turns red?
Do you really think it's going to happen?
Never.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
I got to tell you, Joe Pinion was a tremendous candidate. The problem is
He was.
he was
I agree.
going against an institution.
Yes.
Right. So when are the Republicans going to create an
institution?
institution? Because it's seemingly, especially local, from who I see running, like let's say LaRon Singletary, it didn't seem like he had very much support from the Republicans. What's happening there? How can we improve on that? Because I am a believer in not just two-party system. I believe in multiple parties. I believe that we should all have a voice and that we should not have one party rule. But I know LaRon didn't get very much support directly from the Republican Party. What's your inside take on that one? What can we do about that? Because I personally am a friend of LaRon and I want him to win because that person he's running against has never even answered my phone call.
You got to remember, one of the things is that I was, privileged to be able to be the one that asked LaRon to run for that office. And the reason why is I felt that here's a guy with such great integrity, with a commitment for service.
Mhm.
He took an oath to serve, protect, and defend. And he really did that well.
And there's still time to vote, FYI, for anyone
Yeah.
watching right now.
So-
Still time to vote.
The whole selection process was based upon him, his tremendous values, his hard work, his desire to be the best, and to serve the people. It's a big race. We gave as much help as we possibly could, okay? Starting with taking him to a luncheon meeting with Congressman Emmers there, who was the head of the NRCC. And they ended
What is
up
that for anyone who doesn't know, like myself?
National Republican Congressional Committee.
Thank you.
And what they did is, they got a lot of races. And they got a certain amount of dollars to provide to those that
Right.
have the potential win. LaRon, in his efforts, raised, good chunk of change. But when you're looking at a guy that's been supporting the unions, you got to remember, this guy was number 2 to Silver, for years. And he's been in the party. He's never had a job of his own. He's just been a political candidate and elected official. And so he's got a lot of, networks and ability to raise $1.5 million like that. And you have to recognize that LaRon got a lot of help. We got many people behind him in the Republican Party that provided him with funding. Unfortunately, they didn't leave the Monroe County Republican Committee in good shape under the leadership before me. And so we had to resurrect it. We had to, do things that,
So you inherited something that was less than stellar.
well, yeah. So, but we did it. We made it work. We just moved on.
But what are
And
you
we-
going to do about the city though? Because we don't have a single
Well,
Republican
I
representative.
did something with the city
Go
because
ahead.
with LaRon and, Orlando Rivera and, Marcus Williams, you got to remember, they come to realize that, wait a minute,
All people
we-
of color.
we care. We care. And we talk about it, Republic, they should have representatives. Okay. So now they should have a choice. And we gave it to them. We showed them that our tent was open. And I believe that should continue. I'm not, saying it's going to stop, but that is something we got to be looking for candidates. And so now with LaRon, going back to him, because my mind is focused on him and I want him to win so bad, because I think he'd be a
agree.
tremendous representative for her. And I've supported him as much as I could, the best I could. And he's done a great job. And he even got to the point where he was within a dead heat with Morelli, and he got NRCC to come in with money.
Right.
It was a little late, but they finally recognized
Pretty
his
late.
rate.
Pretty late.
Yeah, but they still.
What do you do
did.
with money at that point?
You buy as much TV time as you can,
Okay. So
and
pretty much just push the
Yeah.
same message you've already been pushing because
Yeah.
you can't recreate the wheel at that point.
no. But the thing that you start to recognize is that right out of the chute, his opponent was very nervous because he went negative.
Immediately in August.
That's right.
In
went
August.
negative. And they, try to brand him as extreme. Here's a guy that's never been extreme.
No.
He's been a servant to the people.
He's never
Yeah.
had a negative blemish
But
in
in
his
his-
RPD
yeah,
career
that's right.
until he was thrown underneath the bus. Never
Well,
had a blemish.
And you got to remember, he retired because he didn't want to change the facts.
Mm.
The attorney general came here herself and investigated the case,
Right.
and could not find
People keep
they
forgetting that.
did
Yeah.
anything wrong.
Letitia?
He got fired because he wouldn't,
Mhm.
Be the
he
Yeah.
would not say things that weren't accurate. And
See, that's the thing.
That's integrity.
people forget
That's
that
integrity.
the RPD chief answers to the mayor. They work
Yeah.
for the mayor. They don't work for city council.
No,
So as much as I would love to have all of the police officers from the South District where they want to defund police, I've said to that council member, let me have your police officers then. Bring them over to my district. We would love to put them on Lake Avenue, Dewey Avenue, Driving Park, Lyle Avenue, Mount Reed Boulevard, and patrol our streets and get out of the cars and be able to talk to people because we don't have enough police officers. Go ahead,
Now,
give them to us. No, they don't want
just
that.
like you were talking about the other race with the Air Force
Yep.
retiree that's running.
Mhm.
Now, the people in the city have a candidate that's running that understands what they go through and can best represent them in the government. Now,
on a street level. On a street level.
I'm talking
Right.
about
Yeah.
the ones
You
that
can't
are
be
really in
RPD
it.
chief
Mm.
and
No,
not
no, no.
understand.
You got
Yeah.
not only that, to get the chief, you got to be on the beat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The lady that has a restaurant on Lake Avenue, Taste of the Bahamas,
Bahamas.
Yeah.
she says it. They had a fundraiser there, and she says, I'm a Democrat, but she says, I remember Ron coming by my restaurant
Mhm.
years ago when he was a rookie and saying, everything okay? Nobody bothering you?
Mm.
We celebrated him getting chief
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so you got.
If you've not been to shout out
he
to Taste
did that.
Bahamas.
Yeah,
If you haven't been there,
man.
I know you've been
great
there.
food.
If you haven't been to Taste
Phenomenal.
Bahamas, oh my
It's
god.
great food.
Great
You got to
great
go
place.
But it's straight up like Bahama
Yeah.
vibe because
Yes.
they open up whenever the hell they want.
Yeah.
So Gotti, stop opening up whatever the hell you want.
Those are the kind of things they have the choice of making someone their true representative that understands,
Right.
can stand in their shoes,
Exactly.
and has been there,
Right.
grew up in the city, and understands what they need and the kind of support that would help them get to the next level.
You know, they say propaganda is a hell of a drug. It's a
Who
hell of
says
a
that?
Nobody, but
I
I'm
was
saying
gonna
it
say, you
today.
just making that up?
I'm just making it up today. It's a hell of a drug.
So I have a
But-
question though. When we take like,
With
we
that,
talk about a very strong candidate like Laurent, you know, and the question of, say at the national level, let's leave the, you know, you handled the local side of things, I think pretty comprehensively. I think I understand them anyway. And if I understand them, I'm
Yep.
sure the listeners can understand it. But at the national level, I still have a lot of questions about the Republican leadership. I mean, it starts with Mitch McConnell, but I mean, you know, I've been following some of these other races kind of peripherally, but you know, how does that, I'm forgetting the name now, but how does the woman in Alaska get left behind
Palin?
for no, the one who's running for, I'm sorry, the one who's running for Senate, and they have that ranked choice thing, and she's in there with Murkowski, and or the woman in Washington State with Patty Murray. I mean, those are places where you could put a strong candidate into those positions. Patty Murray could lose. I mean, I'm not saying she will tonight, but she's been close before, and McConnell won't give him a dime. I mean, I think he's worried about his own rear end, and and I just wonder, you know, how long. I'm not a Republican. I'm an independent, and I'll admit I vote Republican very predominantly historically and exclusively today. But you know, when you talk about, you know, term limits, when you got a guy like McConnell in there, you got to ask yourself, what are we beating the bushes for? You know, when he'll decide who gets any money and who doesn't. You know, a guy like, I'm sure Pinion didn't get a dime.
Right.
You know, and it's so, you know, if that's the case, you know, then how bad, you know, how much are, you know, this is a referendum for me, and I think for many people, it's a referendum on the Democrats and what's happened the last couple of years. But you know, if the Senate goes back and McConnell's running things, you know, what do we got here?
Yeah, because I'm not very fond of Mitch McConnell by any means, and I really don't. I mean, I don't like Pelosi at all. But coming from the Democratic, and then you got the Independent, and you got the Republican, and we got the Independent as well. How can we allow Mitch McConnell to still be in office at this point when he is so decrepit?
Man.
let's go.
decrepit.
Let's go through with the discussion. Term limits,
Go back to that.
campaign finance reform,
Mhm.
because I didn't
But
say
we
did
say
I-
campaign finance reform,
But
but are we
see,
talking about
Rex-
AOC the way she
No.
wants it done, or are
no,
we talking
no,
about?
no. We're talking about the way they've talked about it for years, and they'll never pass it. My point is, I never said it was for one registration or the other. I said for everyone
Right.
in every form of government,
Right.
because
Mhm.
now what you'll do is continue to put those that are, you know, willing to serve their community, their district, and they know they're only going to be there 10 years
Right.
and done. So there's not that power grab. Now it's an opportunity to say, okay, let's build a system, both sides of the aisle, 3 aisles, independents, whatever, that will now promote the best interests of the people and so forth.
Yeah, the problem I have is I know that there's many things blocking the way, because even I have introduced it to the city attorney saying we need to have term limits for city council and for mayor. We don't have term limits. You could be mayor forever.
Yeah.
Nothing stopping you. You could be city councilman forever. Nothing stopping you, which is
Except
what-
for a drug and gun bust.
Get you
but,
every time.
but then that's what they say, is that it's the will of the people. So if you're up for re-election every year, the people want you there. The people want you there. But my problem is same thing with what you said, is that Are we going to really keep waiting until we air out the issues that
Right.
have been happening behind the scenes? Because it wasn't just that, it was also, stealing public tax money to fund your nonprofit, which pays your side girlfriend rent and flight trips.
Right.
So my problem is I've introduced it to the attorneys, and then I just don't get anything. I don't hear anything back. I say I want to make sure that the language is correct, because I don't want to look like an idiot
Yeah.
and just produce it.
Right.
And the charter states this, and I got to state this, and we got to go back to the drawing board. So I produced it to city council, people behind the scenes, as well as the attorneys. I don't hear a word back at all.
It's too much change, Jose.
Yeah.
It's too much.
It's too much.
It's too much.
And
I-
I'm saying I'm saying 3 terms on city council.
yeah,
I'm saying 3 terms on
Too
city
much,
council. I'm like, is
man.
it
Too much
I
work.
feel like
too much work. I think when you talk about on a national level,
that way it hits the 10 years. That's the issue, is
Right.
that people want to hit that 10 year
yeah, they
with the federal government, or with any kind of government piece, because you get the retirement benefits after 10 years. So
Well-
when I'm trying to get the votes behind it, I would love for it to be a 2-term limit, but people
Well,
won't vote
the
for that.
thing is that you also have to look at it from this perspective. A lot of programs and things that you want to get done
Mhm.
can't be done in 2 terms or 3 terms. So that if you really
But
are-
that's okay.
they're trying to, affect, the best interest of the people, sometimes it's going to take a little longer.
Yeah,
10
that's
years,
okay.
10 years, I think is a reasonable time,
Right.
because otherwise somebody's not going to be running 2 years, or,
No. I
two
can't believe they have 2-year
terms.
terms. I can't
Yeah.
like assembly has 2 years.
Yeah.
The county legislators have 2 years. It blows my mind.
And then you got
Every year you're running.
Congress is 2 years.
Congress is 2 years. Every year
The
you're
Senate
running.
is 6 years.
That's
But
that's insane.
my term limits, what I mean by that is that you can only run for 10 years and you're done.
Yeah.
No more.
But
So-
in the meantime, what do you do with, all these octogenarians that are running things, quite frankly, into the ground? I mean, I
That's
think
a fantastic
that's,
word.
I mean, we've got, do we have anyone in who, other than the vice president? I don't think and Biden's, I think, 79. I mean, the Speaker of the House is 82. McConnell's 82. Biden's 79.
Well,
You
think
know.
about, we talk about, if we're going to have straight talk,
Let's
there's
face.
a group of it that say it all the time. This is the United States of America. Recognize that some of the people that are running for office, that's the best we can do.
Right.
Right,
Yeah. No, I said that
This is
about
a-
Biden
this
and
is
the
a great
Democratic
guy.
side, because I'm a Tulsi
They bought.
Gabbard fan.
Those guys is bought.
I
man.
straight, and that's why when you talk about it, they get up there in power.
Right.
Mhm.
And they
They
just
stay.
consolidate
Yeah.
they and they stay there
That's-
forever.
Yeah.
You
Stay.
understand? They
Right.
start
Yeah.
deciding who's going to run so that
Yeah,
they're
that's
in their
not right.
camp.
Well,
That's
our
not
dear
right at
friend, Chad Hummel said to me when I was fighting with the school board, I stood up in front of the school board in my town, and I said to the superintendent, I said, I looked it up. You make $250,000 a year. You're a gym teacher. You make $250,000 a year to run this $100 million a year school district.
Mm.
You got a master's degree in physical education. Nothing wrong with that, but you're making 250 grand. I said, you make more than Cuomo. I said that right in front of the whole place. Cuomo made 235.
Mm.
He's making 250 a year. Won't open the schools.
Cole made that on the books.
Understood.
Right.
Well, don't count it. Don't count some superintendents out either. I won't speak about this
Right,
guy, but
right,
don't
right.
count. But anyway, I said to him, you make more than Cuomo. What you're here to make the tough decisions.
Mm.
Tough decisions are to stand up and get these kids back in school.
Mm.
And then Chad said to me afterwards, he says, no. He says, well, that was nice theater. I said, I didn't mean it to be theater. He said, I don't care. Chad says, I don't care what you think it was theater. And he says, he's not getting paid to make the tough decisions.
No.
He's bought and paid for. He's not going to make
He's in
any
that
tough
position,
decisions
right.
because he's
Mhm.
making too much money to stand up for
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He's paid big money by the people who are really in charge
Yep.
to listen to me and absorb the hard time that he
Well-
gets, and then he does whatever they tell him to do. And that's what these folks are like.
Is
Now,
that like
you gotta
Dr. Mendoza
remember-
as well?
Yes. Now,
What's
what,
Dr. Mendoza?
I think so, but he's making 250 a year plus whatever Strong pays him.
Yeah.
Now, why on earth is he getting paid by Strong?
Double dipping. Now they talk about
Yeah.
double dipping. I mean, this is, at the same time that he's not on retired. He's got two full-time positions.
Two full-time positions, right?
Right. And he's not doing they said in that meeting he was working 80 hours a week. Well, he can't hit all those bars that we got all those pictures
Who,
of.
Mendoza was working 80 hours a week?
Giving out
Come
donuts and beer.
on.
I got to
Dude.
say thank you very much
You need to
for
stop.
allowing me to come on.
Absolutely. We
I,
appreciate you coming
I
on.
don't know if I've added anything to your
You brought a
show.
lot of
did.
value.
You're like, we're still
there's-
talking.
we didn't even get through the questions, but I appreciate you.
Right.
Trust me, Michelle has been itching to come on as well. I know
Yeah.
she has
I
been.
can,
Listen,
I can let
appreciate you.
I
someone
got to
on
say
too if
thank
want.
you, and let's just make sure the good Lord knows what is in everybody's best interest when we get these election results.
We have
Absolutely.
26 minutes left to vote. If you have not voted yet,
Go
go get your ass up and go vote. Bernie, thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
coming on.
We
You-
gotta talk building
Right,
houses,
here.
man.
Good to see
We
you.
gotta talk building houses for sure.
Oh,
We
let's-
could talk all
let's go.
day, man.
Well,
We can talk
buy the
all
block.
types of stuff.
They're building houses in the city. Buy the block.
Over there in the
Yeah,
Garrison
we're only building it
Ave
for
area.
300. How much does it cost to build a house within the city? 350,000.
Well, it's
Price per square
insurance-
foot.
It's insurance and the security that's really expensive.
Average
insurance
average
and
price per square for the full project.
In the city,
Yep.
it's got to be close to $200.
Dang, $200 per square. Better get you a $1,200 square foot house. I don't know where you're gonna build it.
I would take a look at
Those are
the
small
city contract for who's building our houses. I would love to get
$900?
your input on that.
You can't do that because most of them are being built by those that are doing affordable housing.
Right.
Oh,
And
yeah.
those guys are getting $300
I-
a square foot because
Thank
or
you.
more because of the fact that they're doing it through a program that you get all
They
the
get
money
that
up.
discount.
Yeah, you get all the money back.
You
Yes,
can do that.
absolutely.
Yeah.
All these other things.
So when they told me it was going to cost $350,000 to build a home,
And then they're gonna
and then they're going to
list
subsidize it down to $89,000.
89. Why would you
$89,000
do that though?
They do it with tax credits.
tax credits.
But why
right.
would you do that?
Subsidies.
That's not.
Well, they want to get people into housing, but the one that's making all the money is everybody involved in the process.
Yeah, but
Absolutely.
the people don't get advantage to take advantage of the equity is the buyer, the home buyer. So my house is only worth 89,000. That's crazy, bro.
Right.
My house costs 300,000 to make, but it's only worth 89,000 because that's what I pay.
Exactly.
Yo, that is counterproductive. That is not.
How do you feel about your taxes paying for
That's
that?
not equitable,
What are-
Jose.
What are our taxes paying for? Let's go into that.
Oh,
And
man.
then they're gonna put that.
Is it tangible taxes or made up taxes? Because I feel like we just make up tax money that comes in
Yeah.
and we say, well, we'll just get this reimbursed by the state or by the country,
Yep.
federal
Yep.
government.
It's a good point.
Right. Like our CSD, the city school district. We pay them a certain amount of money, but then somehow their budget gets ballooned to $1 billion.
Dear
And
Lord.
they continue to get paid more and more every year while their enrollment goes
Declines.
down,
Mhm.
while their production goes down.
And while the scores of the students go in the tank.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, it's a shame. It's what happened with our
This one right here.
what happened with our in Monroe County during COVID. It was absolutely so heartbreaking and so frustrating at the same time for me.
If you missed the podcast that we did, I wish I remember the date that we had you on, but man, it was killer. It was absolutely killer. We're gonna have to put I'll put it in the comments later on. People can go back to it.
It
but-
was yeah, just to go back to the schools, but it was so heartbreaking for everybody. But what you saw was the classic, because I really paid close attention for the first time in my life to everything that was going on and I knew all 20 school districts by name and whatnot.
Fantastic.
And what I saw was every kid suffered terribly. But it was your classic example, Jose, of world ends, poor hardest hit. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Because in some of the outlying districts, I think the Wheatland Chili got back the first because they're a smaller district or whatever,
Mhm.
more rural. Honeoye Falls did a little better than some of the others, but those poor kids in the city, they were out of school for a year and 3 months completely, and they never got back in the second full year, full time. It was just absolutely criminal.
I'm pretty sure same thing with Rochester. We didn't.
Yeah.
We didn't come back to the middle of the second year, I believe.
Exactly. And just to be, for those kids to lose that much of their lives, literally losing that much of their lives, their formative years, you know,
It's criminal. It's absolutely criminal.
It is criminal, and it's so unnecessary, and it didn't happen everywhere else. And the accountability is essentially
Non-existent.
non-existent. It was just absolutely heartbreaking.
Well, tonight is supposed to be the accountability night. So far, with the Senate races, Democrats are at 38, Republicans are at 37. So it's neck and neck at this point. We're really only going to be focused on a few that are really going to be the ones that show us what's going to happen with the rest of the country. New Hampshire will probably be one of them.
Mhm.
Michigan is going to probably be one of them. Wyoming, New Mexico, Texas. I don't think Texas is going to be one of them. But we see that the usual suspects are all red for the Senate races. We got Florida, Alabama, South Carolina, Kentucky, Indiana, Arkansas, and Oklahoma. And then the Illinois, Vermont, Connecticut, and Maryland are still blue there. When it comes to the U.S. House of Representatives, we're at 17 that are for Democrats and 28 for Republicans so far.
So far, yeah.
So it shows that they've gained 3 seats, which
Okay.
is, I mean, so far that's on par.
What
It's
are
on par.
What are you looking? Which source are you?
I'm
looking
going right to Google.
I'm going with Real Clear Politics.
Yes, that's
and-
what I want to see. I want to see the difference that people are saying.
And on them, I'm looking through some of the tight races. So with 44%, Warnock is now in Georgia. Raphael Warnock is now at 51.4, and Herschel Walker's at 46.9.
So he's not gaining anything there.
No, he is actually, because he was down 10 before. And my question would be, how much of the early vote, because the early vote tends to break Democrat usually because it's the pre-counted vote. So
it usually tends to break Democrat at 3:00 in the morning.
well, yeah, I think the early and the late does. So what
Gotcha.
happens is, I believe, and I could be wrong, it's too bad Bernie's not here yet, but I believe what happens is the mail-in voters tend to be more heavily Democrat.
Yes,
correct?
absolutely.
So the ones that voted before and get counted, boom, right when they release the results, it tends to balloon up early for Democrats in general. Then as the same day voters go up and up and up, it tends to even out or go towards the Republicans. And then when they find some in the back room, it goes back up again for the Democrats. That's my understanding of how it usually works. So what I expect is, so for example, down in Pennsylvania, which we know is not going to be like this for long, 8% is in, according to Real Clear, it says 81% for Fetterman and 17% for Oz.
Yeah.
Now, we know no one's going to win 81-17 on either side.
No.
So the first bolus of votes is heavily
We're talking 332. I've on my side, we've got over 330,000 votes for Fetterman in already, with almost 77,000 for Dr. Oz.
okay. So but I think it's probably a little early to tell with those close races. I
No,
don't know.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So what do you think about like the Libertarian? We got a couple other people who are in that Pennsylvania race. We got the Libertarian, we got a Green Party, and we got a Keystone Party of Pennsylvania, which at this point total 7, 8, 9.5, almost 10,000 votes have been taken away, which right now doesn't impact very much. But Pennsylvania allows a lot more races within that state than New York does. How do you feel about the fact that New York has pretty much limited how many different parties there could be?
You mean personally?
Personally,
You know, are you asking me selfishly in terms of who I want to see win, or in
no,
fair play
unselfish,
terms?
fair. I want to hear
play
fair
terms.
Yeah,
I don't know. Whatever the law is that you need a particular percentage or whatever to be on the ballot, they should follow that by the book. If that unfairly removes other potential candidates from the ballot, then that should be changed by law. So I don't know what the numbers are. I know that in some states like New Mexico and Arizona, I used to live in Arizona, the Libertarians, I mean, they routinely get 5 or 6% of vote.
You used to live in Arizona.
Yeah.
All right. So how do you feel about Carrie Lake,
I
who's
think-
one of my I love the woman because she stands up against the media. I see her as I don't know how they're gonna feel because I don't live there. I don't know how they're gonna feel about actually voting for her, as opposed to her opponent refuses to even
Right.
debate her. To me, that's another one of those line drawns. If you're not going to debate the person, that means you have no actual stance
Right.
and you can't support it, which I
agree with that.
believe, based on what her opponent has been able to stand on, is salty and sandy at this point. It's not built on solid ground.
Yeah, I
So
agree.
Carrie Lake has been destroying her in the media.
I think that you're right that she's a very strong media candidate. She's certainly a very tough individual. You know, she's not afraid of media and so on. I think she's been in media for years. if I'm not
She
mistaken.
was.
So
She's
she
going
got-
against Katie Hobbs, by the
Right,
way.
Katie Hobbs. Yeah.
Who and she has her sister was caught on Project Veritas telling them that the Democrats in the area were actually donating to Carrie Lake's campaign because they felt that if they would push someone who was a far right, pro Trump,
Mhm.
mega MAGA, ultra mega MAGA, that Katie Hobbs would have a better chance of beating that person.
Yeah, and
Well-
they did that with Bolduc in New Hampshire as well. The
Yeah.
Democrats gave money to Bolduc because
Yep.
they thought he was too far out there.
And how do you think New Hampshire is going to end up? How do you think Arizona is going to end up?
I would with Lake.
If you were in Arizona, how would you want it to end up?
I think, well, if what I've read is accurate, Kelly in the Senate was a 100% vote with Biden, 100%. And if this is a referendum on Joe Biden, then I don't know how you can support a guy, whether he's an astronaut or not, if he's going to vote with Joe 100% of the time. So I think it's pretty clear that I'd not go with him. I think with Lake,
Mark Kelly, you go with Blake Masters on that one.
I would personally. I just think anyone that's voting with Biden 100% of the time and presenting himself as a moderate is not representing themselves accurately. So
So you want to go with Mark Victor from the Libertarian? How do you feel about Libertarian Party
me,
personally?
I have some strong libertarian leanings, but I
Okay.
don't think that the Libertarian Party is unfortunately a realistic force.
It's not feasible.
Yeah, I just don't think it's got enough. It's interesting you mentioned that because there's a lot of libertarians in Arizona, and the Libertarian candidate for Senate broke with Masters. at
Mark
the end.
Victor.
Right? He took himself off and said, "I'm
Oh, he did.
I'm endorsing Masters."
Is Rand Paul? He's Republican though.
He is formerly Republican. His dad was
His dad was
in
The great
Libertarian.
Ron
the
Paul.
great
Yeah.
Ron Paul.
yeah.
The
The
man,
great
the
Ron
myth.
Paul. He
Yeah,
was
the
he was the
legend.
only one that was talking. Oh man, I love going back and listening to his videos.
Yes.
Ron Paul. He was talking about everything that's happening right now.
He was the educator.
He was just too smart. And the unfortunate thing with politics is that you have to be marketable. Ron Paul is just not marketable. Just like Bernie Sanders, I would say, is just not marketable.
Yeah.
Unless you're in
Well,
that
they-
area.
You know what? They did a good job though, because he did have like a huge, like, I wouldn't say cult-like following within.
Yeah, but they do that
the
every single
young
time.
kids,
They
the
do it
18
two
to 20
times.
plus year olds.
They do it twice and then they kick them out.
Yeah, but still, he
So I guarantee
did-
Bernie's never going to run again.
I think
for
when
president.
Was it the first Obama run? It was when his grassroots started to kind of
Right,
really kick off.
Yep.
Then the second Obama run, like
I felt the burn
he-
in that one.
the
I felt the burn.
second time, he was knocking on the door, and I think they robbed him.
Oh, they did.
They robbed him the second time around.
Let me tell you. I'm gonna say this on air here. This is gonna be
Uh-oh.
only the second time I've ever said this out loud. I used to be a socialist Democrat. I was a big time Bernie fan.
Ooh.
Big time Bernie fan.
It made sense. It made sense. Though. It made sense at that time.
It made sense at the time. We're
Yeah.
talking, again, you're absolutely right. It was Obama years.
but it's okay. Thomas Sowell, he also
Yeah.
Thomas Sowell was
admitted-
also.
he also admitted that as well.
Yep.
So.
And I was talking to a certain someone on city council, and and I told her that I was, I was a Bernie supporter. I was like, I used to support Bernie back in the day. I freaking voted him in the primary. And she was like, so how did you, what made you turn your back on that then? What made you any different now? And I said, I read.
You read Thomas Sowell.
I simply
get you every time.
That was it. I simply looked at the facts. I read up on
Yeah.
everything, and I was like, yeah, it sounds good.
Right.
It always sounds
In
good.
theory.
Right.
In theory.
Obama sounded fantastic, and he's still,
Yeah.
I still will say he's my favorite president from all time because he had that. I hate to use the word swag.
Yep.
I hate that freaking
He
word.
had this swag.
But if any president had it, it was him.
But he was also, but what he was running on, and they manipulated the markets right on time, so where the banks could
Hope.
be completely vilified, and he was the right time. Stars aligned for him. But overall, when you look at the record, when you start to understand that, what got him in office,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? That agenda, once it presents itself, you're like, ooh, this second time around, I'm not voting for Obama this time.
Yeah.
I woke up. I got exposed to some financial literacy.
Well, you know what Winston Churchill said? He said that if you're 20 years old and you're not a liberal, you got no heart.
Yeah.
And if you're 40 years old and you're not a conservative, you got
That's
no
true.
brain.
That's true.
That's not very
That's
nice.
a fact, though. As you get older, you start to realize how manipulated you were,
Yeah.
and like the
I don't-
people were right.
Well,
no, you
You're
were.
not taught. See, this is the thing. One of my favorite classes in college was critical thinking, and loved that freaking class. Loved it. But I still was.
Do you think they still offer it?
Oh man, I took it at the same exact time as I took some other
Lavelle.
class.
Critical race thinking.
Oh, that's
yeah.
the critical, right?
Nice.
That's the one.
I took it at
So
the same
it's
time
still
as
there.
another
It's
class.
just different form.
Different, yeah.
And the person that was leading this other class, the very beginning, they said, take out a piece of paper and a pen. And I got some questions for you, and you're gonna answer honestly. Don't think you're gonna hurt my feelings or anything like that. I'm like, all right, cool. All right, I'm about this. What do you think my sex is? What do you think my gender is? What do you think? All these questions on. I'm pretty sure it was like a women's whatever class. I thought I was gonna get laid in it, but it was certainly the most furthest left thing I've ever been involved
the
in.
only reason why you choose the
And
class.
it was a person that I simply could not know. I had no idea if it was a man or woman. No clue whatsoever.
Mm.
No clue whatsoever. And I'm sitting there like, oh, okay, I guess there's a difference between sex and gender. I think it was gender studies or something like that. And so that was my first introduction to it. But at the same time, I was also taking critical thinking.
Mm.
Critical thinking was a night class. The gender studies thing was like the next day night class. So I was taking like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then like a Tuesday, Wednesday. And like the dichotomy between the two always mess with me. I'm like, what is actually happening here? I feel like I'm getting bombarded with propaganda from both sides.
Mhm.
Anyways, that's my story of night class and
Well-
college.
Well, just within college in general, the indoctrination that's been happening throughout time. You know what I mean? They've pulled our kids away from critical thinking.
We
Mhm.
think
Period.
we think that
No,
we
bro.
got a Gen Z person in New Hampshire, which we already brought up. Do you have the video ready to go there for the
Austin's back on the mic.
The debate.
yes.
Yeah, all right.
Chris
Ready?
Papas versus the reason why I want to bring this up. First of all, New Hampshire, it could show what the rest of the country is going to look like. But the biggest reason why I want to show this is Caroline Levitt. I want to say Levitt. Gen Z. Gen
Wow.
Z
Is New
Republican.
Hampshire turning purple?
Show the let's show the debate there. This one's going to be fun to
Islam,
watch.
Do you believe Donald Trump is telling the truth when he says the 2020 election was stolen from him? Yes or no?
I've been very clear on my position as you know, Adam, on this issue. I believe there were irregularities in the 2020 election. I talk to voters every single day who feel the same. And I'll continue to stand for election integrity efforts at the state and local level to ensure that every citizen in this state is voting once on election day. Now, this question is never asked of my opponent. And it's never asked of him where he stands on election integrity, because the truth is he supports a federal takeover of our election system. Speaker Pelosi, it was the first bill she introduced in the new Congress 2 years ago, H.R. 1. It's a radical federal steal of our elections in New Hampshire. It would threaten our first in the nation primary status. It would outlaw the use of voter ID in every single state across this country, and it would give less power to our wonderful state legislatures in Concord. Again, I want to stand for election integrity and ensure those efforts are made at the state and local level.
To the question,
Good answer or
do you
no?
believe former President
It's pretty
Trump-
good. Pretty good at question. I mean, answer. Pretty solid.
That's
From
pretty
a Gen
solid.
Z.
So how did the guy respond? He's drinking.
Yeah,
his
he's
water.
drinking water.
Split
He's
up.
Like he's
like,
Paul
oh, this
Ryan.
is
He's like,
softball.
he's got the Paul Ryan, guzzling.
Yeah,
Little girl who
let me guzzle
she
this real
thinks
quick.
She is.
How dare she?
How dare she?
Let me finish my big gulp.
You're
before
right. Hold my drink.
I did not expect that.
That was pretty impressive.
That was the first thing I recognized, especially when you get these debates, man, you got to see how the opponents is, stand and how
Yeah.
they kind of taking the question. This dude really thought he was like, this bitch, who she thinks she is.
And again, a Gen Z woman that's running as a Republican. To me, I was like ready. I'm like, how old is this girl? Like, blah, blah. And then I saw that
She's
this.
got to be at least 25, right? She got to be. 25.
She's got a little
Gotta be
Candace
at least
Owens behind her.
Yeah, she
like,
does.
You know what I mean? I like that. I like that. You know what I mean?
She sure seems.
Continue.
the truth when he says that the election was stolen from him in 2020?
I
Yes or
believe-
no?
I believe voters every single day when they express their concerns over election integrity. I have voters in this district who tell me, I want to vote for you, but I'm not sure it will count. It will count. We need to flood the polls on Tuesday and continue to fight for election integrity at the state and local level.
Same question to you, Mr. Pappas.
Well, I think that's a simple no. Donald Trump is wrong. The last election was not stolen from him. Everyone knows that. And Caroline Leavitt continues to double down on the big lie that somehow this last election was stolen. I think it's really concerning to so many folks in New Hampshire that we've got a candidate running for office on the big lie who said on January 6th that she would have actually voted to decertify
Hold that.
the election result.
Stop right there. They keep pushing this big lie thing. Did she
Yeah.
say anything that sounded like a big lie? Because to me, I've heard some stories today of how people they were either not allowed to vote because the machines were down, or they couldn't find the person in the system.
Right.
Like she's saying, there were some irregularities. She didn't say anything out of the blue, but that's also political talk at the same time.
Right.
I get it. But he's saying something completely different from what she just said.
Yeah.
So as someone who's right down the middle, I can sit there and say, well, she didn't say that. So you're just reading off of what you had prepared.
Right.
You're not actually intellectually having a conversation.
Can we say that? Well, I mean, this is just my observation, right? Have you guys seen the video of the newscasters, like
Where they all
All
succinctly
say
saying
the
the
same
same
thing,
thing.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
is that what's going on with the Democratic Party?
Yes, absolutely.
Like somebody is sending out this.
Talking point.
Yeah.
That's what I hate the most is the fact that they pushed two narratives. Number one, well, the big lie. We'll add that in there. Number one was really Roe v. Wade.
Mhm.
We're in
That
a
was
room
the
of
first
four
one,
guys
yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
Does that matter to you as much?
No, not really.
Not at all. Like,
Roe v. Wade?
yeah.
Yeah. That,
The raging liberal.
yeah.
there you go.
No, that's
So-
absolutely.
That was a big one for you.
yeah, Roe v. Wade? Absolutely.
Why? What made it big?
I'm a big pro-choice guy.
Oh,
but-
fantastic. Good. I'm okay with that.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
As
Mhm.
long as you were pro-choice when it came to
the decision.
the vaccine.
Yeah, of course.
Right. See, that's why you're okay on the show.
Yeah.
Other people are not okay on the show because they
Right.
don't stand their ground when it comes to their bodily rights, their choices over what happens
Right.
with their body. Simple as that.
Mhm.
It really is do you want politicians to have control over your body or not? Yes or no? It does not matter if there's a pandemic. Yes or no?
Right.
Continue with the debate. Sorry, I just had to put that in there.
It's overturning the result of a democratic election in this country. She actually said that she
Second
was
was
proud to
January
have,
6th.
quote, held the line on January 6th
There
by
it is.
working for a member of Congress who voted
Called
to
it.
overturn the election results that night. That is just chilling. We know the folks that were holding the
Chilling.
line
That's
that day. was
just
the members
chilling.
Of the
Oh my
Capitol Police.
God.
Who's the male? I mean, talk about.
The male.
I'm sorry, but
Chris Pappas,
Right. Who's
the incumbent Chris
who's
Pappas.
the real
who is
masculine?
right? I mean, I'm starting to see it. You know, I'm being a little, but I'm starting to see why people are so confused these days.
Yeah.
Because I look at these two people and I see if I may, a attractive, well put together young woman with blonde hair, who I would classically think of as being female.
Right.
And then I see a guy
Classic.
That's
who-
so sad. You have to go through that entire line to.
but then on the other side of the screen, I see this sort of, he's a pencil neck geek. He kind of looks like a Adam Schiff Jr. kind of thing, but he
Jeez.
sure looks like he's got, he sure looks like he's got male gonads, right?
Yeah.
Can't tell, but then you listen to him talk
Yeah.
and it's chilling.
emasculated.
I mean, that's the best you can do about your opponent is say what she said is chilling.
Yeah. Fear.
Fear.
Yeah. that's all
I'm
it is.
afraid of her.
Yeah.
You know, and you got to ask. I don't mean to do the Bill Burr lady's voice, but it's like it's chilling. It's like I'm sorry. I realize I identify as a male, and I won't vote for a guy
No.
who says that in a debate. I just
No.
won't. And
Yeah.
I'm just saying there's now maybe the people who will get 4 votes. I don't know. That's what they're debating right now. But I do. Am I missing something here, or do you guys get kind of what I'm saying?
No. I think they've.
I think you're on the same line as most Latino voters as well. Latinos want to see masculine energy.
That's what you want.
That's
what you
why
hope.
they voted
That's what you
for
hope.
Trump.
Bro, wait.
Simple as that.
Across the board, and I'll say this, across the board, all races, everybody is drinking the Kool-Aid of the same setup. It's fear. It is, propaganda, right? Like they don't even campaign anymore, right? They don't even campaign. There's no trail. There's
He doesn't have
they-
a platform. His
No, but
platform is
there's not even a debate. They're not even debating. They're not debating. He's not even answering any questions. He's just deflecting and projecting and my opponent is chilling.
Yeah.
Bro, come on, dog. Like, come on. You afraid of her?
right.
Chilling.
That's how it sounds. He's afraid of her.
So
Yeah.
tough.
We got a special guest. Michelle.
Michelle.
my bella right here. This is
she got her own drink around this.
she is the #1 guest on Politically Correct podcast.
She's
Yeah.
the
Oh, you want the hat?
Michelle is
You're
one
gonna
of
earn.
the,
You've already earned a hat.
she's one of the hardest working patriots I know. She loves her
is.
country.
Because I do want to hear
and
your take on this. I wish you came in when the young female was talking. But go ahead and with the Chris Pappas.
I'm sure you would vote for her. You wouldn't vote for this dick.
Listen to this
Look
guy
at this dick.
talk.
Look at him. Look at him. Just look at him. This is what the Democratic Party is presenting. Like they used, Dennis Kucinich, like he back in the day, right? When he was
I have
running.
no idea who that is.
You don't know who Dennis Kucinich is?
No.
Well, they ran him out. The Democratic Party ran him out.
Like
You want to know
Tulsi Gabbard?
why? Because he was holding them accountable.
Oh,
He was
yeah,
holding
like Tulsi
he was
Gabbard.
holding Obama accountable. He was like, "Yo, Obama, you ran on. Okay, you want to, do something with the big banks. Then why did you pay them? Why did you give them a
Right.
slap on the wrist? Why did you literally let them get away with robbing the American people within the 2009 housing crisis?
Right.
Why did you do that? Why are we bombing? Why are we trying to bomb Iran?
So here's the Ron Paul of the Democrats.
Oh, Dennis Kucinich
What'd he
was
run for?
nice. He ran for president.
What?
Yeah.
When was this?
You don't remember Dennis Kucinich?
No,
He was.
I'm not gonna lie. I just recently,
Oh,
not that long
just-
ago, got
well,
into
you did-
politics. Like
well, you-
Ron Paul era.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay. So he would be considered the Ron Paul of Democratic Party
Okay.
today,
Right.
All right.
And he was Ohio guy, but they
Right.
ran him out,
They ran him out.
just like Cynthia McKinney.
Oh, like Gino Bernardo is an Ohio guy that didn't show up to bowling.
Oh, that's true, Mr. 300.
Well, Lavelle, do you think that because they did something very similar in some ways to Bernie? I think that when you get these guys, because Kucinich had the most, I remember he had been, I think, the mayor of Cleveland, and then he was a congressman from
Yep.
Ohio, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for a long time, he had the most liberal vote, the most leftist voting record in Congress. So he was a far left guy, but he actually believed the tenets of the old far left, which was that you don't do this crony capitalism where the banks, you buy out the payout, save the banks if and all this kind of
Right.
thing.
That wasn't the far left. That's classical liberalism.
Okay, but I mean, I'm just saying that he wanted all the social programs and whatnot,
Right.
but he didn't want the corporate
Right. Exactly.
corporate welfare kind of thing.
Right.
When and he fell out of favor when the Democrats started doing this corporate welfare en
Mhm.
masse, bailing out the banks. Am I right or am
Yep.
I wrong?
Yep.
And he was persona non grata after that.
Yep.
And Bernie was kind of the same way to a lesser extent, that, he just was someone who, you're never going to be able to pay for Bernie's policies, but at some level he had some
Right.
integrity.
At some point,
Right.
maybe,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
No,
And
not at
I
all.
think now it's like they just say one thing and do the opposite.
Yep.
And those guys aren't even, the real leftists aren't even welcome anymore.
No, they
No.
sold out. They sold out.
Mm-hmm.
Obama sold out. Obama was a complete sellout, and
Complete sellout.
he's a complete sellout.
Okay.
He
They did
knew.
warn at the very beginning that he was a Marxist, and to me, I thought that was a total conspiracy theory. Being someone
Yeah,
that
well,
was gonna
anybody
vote
that
for
was
him.
on Ron Paul was like, yeah, he's a Marxist because again, his rhetoric was aligned with Marxism, but at the same time, again, it was like that Goldilocks, right? Like if there was ever going to be a black president elected at that time, that was the time,
Mhm.
right? Where the contrast was McCain and Obama, and then you have again Bush in office. Everybody was tired of Bush from what he did with 9/11,
Right.
right? The anti-war folks, which again at that
Well, he also
time,
couldn't run again.
at that time, the Republican Party was toxic because all they did the same level of propaganda that the left is doing today,
Right. To
just
get us into
to get us right
to
in
get us
Iraq
into
war.
Iraq. Yeah.
Right. So we didn't have a real choice at that time. I think now it's like it's shifted to where a lot of more blue collar voters are aligned with conservatism in the Republican Party than any other time before. And
They might be misaligned.
it is that now you have you go drive in Pittsburgh, it's freaking liberal city.
It's-
It's crazy.
In one of the
That's crazy.
richest areas.
Yes.
Most-
and I'm like, they're
Yep.
trying to take all of your money. They want all of your money.
Go ahead, Michelle
They're
Keisha. You
telling
want to jump in
you
on that one? Go
That
ahead.
you got to give your money to everybody for equality or
Michelle
equity.
Keisha, everybody.
Equity, right? All right, so we've hit the 9 o'clock hour, right?
Yeah.
Is
So
it
yeah,
poll time?
polls are closing.
Whole time.
I like the
Yeah.
jacket, Michelle.
Yeah, she's on it. Look, she's
This
official.
very-
We're all gonna go have a celebratory
Diplomatic
party at
way.
the Marriott.
All right, we got
Right?
both
You
Dakotas.
think so?
I hope so, right?
I hope so.
We'll
Can,
see.
can we bring it in for a little local moment?
Yeah,
We can.
always.
We can.
All right,
Let's go
keep
into New York, which has been. I think they already called it. Charles Schumer.
Mm.
Oh yeah.
Is it
Damn it.
our poor opinion didn't make?
Oh,
it?
whooped his.
Mhm.
Whooped
You
his
know
butt.
what? I
Again,
think-
a letdown by the Republican
he-
Party for not backing.
Yeah,
a-
opinion started to get momentum.
It's only 7% right now, but
Mm.
Schumer has
See,
395,000
and that's what I don't want to
votes,
see.
New
We
York
should.
City,
and
like-
Pinion has 108,000.
It's New
He's
York City.
that's a,
but that's a lot
that's a
though.
giant.
But
amount.
still,
Right.
you look at the difference though. That's still pretty damn good going up against
Right.
Chucky
with nothing.
Boy who
Well, you
called
got to look at
himself.
how many Republicans. All right, so this is my big thing. You're not going to find very many Republicans who are going to vote Democrat. You're going to find a bunch of Democrats who are willing to vote Republican today. Today, I don't know about 2 years from now, but today,
In the climate.
Mhm.
right, the climate we're in. So Joe Pinion is my boy, man. I want to have a drink with him. I want to sit down and just talk
He
to
don't
him.
need. Listen, this is just a start for him. I think
I
this
think
is put
you're
him
right.
on the scene.
Yep.
And
Just
I,
put
and I
him
said
on
the
the
same thing
scene.
about Alex White. Alex White is a Green Tea Party guy
Do
here
we have
locally.
to? Do we have to go?
No, I already had a drink. I had him on my show. He was one of the first like 10
All right.
people I had.
Well,
on
let's
the
get
show.
back to Joe Pinion, right?
You're a
'Cause-
hater.
Yeah, I am.
Joe
And,
Pinion
uh,
all right. So Chuck Schumer's been called already. It's already too far beyond. Joe Pinion has again.
I don't want to
can't
call it
say-
yet. Let's wait when it's 100%. Then
Okay.
we'll talk about where Joe
Right.
Pinion landed and what's
All right.
next for him, and get the awareness around him. People need to know about him.
Yeah.
He's a young big voice for
Yeah.
a lot of people in the middle. He's
Smart,
not far on either
intellectual.
side.
He just needs to keep going.
Right. So
Keep
it's important.
Going, you know what I mean?
We are his campaign, right?
Kathy Hoke was whooping the snot out of Zeldin right now as well.
Okay, because that's what they want to show you,
Right.
right? That's it's all perception.
It is.
Jose, come on.
You're right. I know.
We
I'm
know
just
better
saying,
than this.
if I'm a
I
regular
can't
human
sit there,
being,
right? So
I'm gonna sit
Tom
here and
and
say
I,
that's a snot
yeah.
whooping.
Tom and I have been in the green room, right? Because now we have a green room. That's
You
how
got a
big
green room
politically
now.
correcting is getting, right?
Tom
right.
is in
You
the
got
building.
overflow.
You're getting
Tom
worse.
is in. Tom, this is the most quiet I've seen Tom in a long time.
Well, he's getting ready to jump on as well.
We were gonna go on the We the People podcast page and spin one up and see if we could beat you guys in numbers, right? 'Cause we
It's
had some pretty
possible.
good.
Maybe.
answer code.
People don't like to hear about me.
Jose,
Sorry.
we can't go from the smartest guy in Rochester to the dumbest guy in Rochester. It doesn't work.
I was gonna name the dumbest guy in Rochester, but I'm not gonna. Currently, Kathy Hochul with 75% of the vote.
But that's part of the problem, right?
It's
even
early.
we
I
were
know it's
streaming
early.
Fox News, and it was before the
Yeah.
the polls are
Right.
even closed.
Yeah, they do that
There-
all
it
the
should-
time.
It's
It's 8% reporting right now.
8%.
It's-
Right.
It's all
right.
that early voting.
But,
Right.
but they were doing that before the
They
polls were
want
even
that to happen.
closed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
that,
they were.
Trump was
that's
getting
mind
destroyed
trickery,
with
right?
Hillary.
And every one they were showing where the blue was ahead, right?
Right.
You don't do because you know what that does? It makes the red anybody that's a Republican go, oh, I know I'm already done. I'm not going to go.
Right.
And that I
Well,
don't
it's
know.
9:09 now. You can't go.
Well, think,
I'm talking about across the country. What
Well,
we've been
it was
watching.
The big thing
Right.
was in Arizona, right? In 2020, was even Fox called.
Exactly
the
right.
polls weren't
Yeah,
closed,
Yeah.
and they
I
called
just
it.
Before they called it.
sitting in there having some choice words.
And
Did
then
you
It's
see
like
when they
Brett Baer.
called it for Katie Hobbs?
They've already called it. For
They aired it for Katie Hobbs 2 days ago. Aired it for her, and then they had to retract it and say, "Oh, we're sorry. That shouldn't have been put out."
I can't imagine Katie Hobbs is going to win.
I can't imagine why you would have a graphic that says Katie Hobbs winning. And they said we were just getting ready for whichever side wins. We just wanted to make sure we were prepared.
Yeah, and they always show the one that is according to what they want to see happen.
But to me, that's crazy.
man,
that you
they
would have
wanna
a
rig an
graphic
election
up.
so bad.
You can't. You're telling me that your people can't put up a graphic within a minute?
Mhm.
Within a minute,
Mm-mm.
like we're not talking about the Super Bowl champions put a hat on that has the stitching in. We're not talking about that. We're not talking about creating a Super Bowl ring
Mhm.
where you have millions of dollars worth of diamonds in it before the freaking Super Bowl is. We're talking about a race here. That was crazy to me.
Yeah,
Mm.
So-
that's crazy.
Mhm.
I'm a huge Ricky Lake.
Ricky
yeah.
Lake.
Ricky Lake.
I as
man.
well.
I
Oh, man,
remember
Carrie
her.
Lake. Carrie Lake.
Throwback.
No, I'm a huge Carrie Lake fan.
Turning test.
I
You are
would've-
not the
I am.
father.
I would've been able to
definitely,
tell.
Girl crushing on her. She has been. Everyone should take note of how she handled herself through this, and obviously her background helped her out a lot, right? From the corrupt media.
I was talking to a Democrat earlier, and someone that I personally believe is a moderate Democrat, along with myself, and she was very much under the impression that Carrie Lake was just a crazy woman.
Yeah.
And I'm
That-
sitting there, I was like, but you don't understand. She came from the media. She knows what the talking points are. She's fighting them in the way that they're going to fight everybody else, including Donald Trump. And
Right.
she's mastered it in a way that nobody else has.
Right.
Not Trump, not DeSantis. Nobody has mastered it the way Carrie Lake has mastered the way to work the microphone,
Yes.
to be able to call somebody out like CNN
Right.
Plus and say, well, yeah, we'll do an interview.
She has the
Only
receipts
if you put it on
every
CNN,
time
but
when she's
every
in
time.
front of that
She
microphone.
pulls out
She has the
paperwork.
receipts.
She's like, oh, we're going to talk about
Receipts.
election deniers?
Right.
Let's talk about this
Yeah.
person.
And this is from
person.
Anthony, my 20-year-old, right?
Right.
Who
Who is
was
not
able to
in the-
find this, right?
Exactly. And she calls out the people who are, their job is to report the news
Right.
in a way that is supposed to be right down the middle. And she calls them out. She's like, give me that paperwork. Come on, little 20-year-old kid. Here, he's done more work than you guys ever have.
Right.
Oh, what's the questions you're going to ask? Okay, the same thing over and over again.
Mhm.
January 6th, over and over again.
Yep.
Did you see the one where she left the Australia news interview that she was doing? Because the guy was just digging on her about the January 6th stuff. She's like, I'm running for governor.
Yeah.
I'm running for governor. This has nothing to do with governor. Can we go with questions that has to do with Arizona?
Right.
But that's a tactic, though.
So I'm a Carrie
Who,
Lake fan as well. Just
Bro,
based purely on how she handles herself.
we
She
are,
is, but that's what I meant. That's my point is more people, if they want it, they should take a page from her
Right.
book and
Yeah.
playbook and go with that because it's impactful. In
but
my
think
opinion.
about it. The people who don't have the ability to kind of see people for number one who they are, and then also, I don't know, think critically about an opposing or different view than what you believe, right? And I don't know, the folks who lean left, who are Democrat, you kind of know what they believe. Like, you know exactly what they believe. And it's like, all right.
They believe what they've been told.
Yeah, they believe what they've been told, but they believe that everything outside of their circle is just all bad and everybody is this and that. Like, they have people that are pointing their direction. And then you have folks that's trying to kind of align them back into like, no, it's not that way. It's this.
Right.
And it is
Well,
like,
what you try to do, Lavelle, right?
You
you're
try
a good
to.
voice in that, right? Of trying to bring back people into seeing things for what they really are, right? I'm not asking anybody to change their party, their beliefs, or anything. What I want people to do is understand exactly what they're backing, right? And what that really means, and inform yourself again to what it is when you cast that vote.
Back to the platform.
I'm gonna
What
just
are you
bring
saying
up
for?
what Tom just told me when we were in back. That somebody he knows
the green
just
room.
the green room.
in the
right?
green
Yeah.
room, famous green room.
We got a green room now.
That somebody he knows just voted for the governor, and they didn't vote for anyone else because they weren't informed in who they were, right, and who the can. And I told him, I go, I back that.
There was 2 races I did not vote in because I was like, I don't know either one of these people,
Right.
and I'm not just going to choose them because of
Right.
whatever.
I mean, in concept, I would say in this election, for the beliefs I stand for, I could straight row vote, right? I felt confident doing that. This was a different election this year for me, in my opinion, to do that. But the fact that she did that shows something, right? That she took the time to at least understand I'm not educated enough to just go and vote a row or vote because somebody told me, and I'm going to educate. And that's what more people need to do and understand and make the votes valuable. And in New York, we need to stop with this, my vote doesn't count.
Yeah.
Because we have more of the my vote doesn't count. If all those people voted, all of our votes would count.
Well, let me tell you the breakdown. Democrats have 6 million voters. Republicans have 2.7 million voters
Oh God.
in New York,
in New York,
registered voters.
registered voters.
Damn.
Now that's not
That's
the
not the dead
independent.
ones.
That's
Independent.
not.
There's got to be a lot more independents in New York State, though, because
There are a lot of independent
there's a lot of
voters.
independent voters.
There are
Gotta be.
2.8 million independent voters, 2.7 million Republicans, and 6 million Democrats.
They're all the independents are probably former Republican and Democratic voters that got pissed off during the Bush administration.
Yeah, that's exactly what they are.
It has to be.
Or they were like Green Tea Party or Libertarian
Yeah,
that said, you know
yeah,
what,
yeah.
let me just go
Right.
independent or something like that. But either way, if you were to pull every Republican and every independent, you'd be at 5.7, 5.5, 5.6, let's call it 5.6 million voters compared to 6 million Democratic voters.
They know
It's
this.
very
They know
tough
this, bro.
to
Yeah.
win. So I
but
know,
in
I
an
know the
election,
big,
right,
but the
like-
big thing is that they think they're going to have a red tsunami, and they have this big hope, as I've seen, because I watch CNN, MSNBC, and Fox News to get the gist of what they're saying. And Fox News has said that there might be a red wave in New York. Do you think that's going to happen?
I think we have a good chance. I don't call it a
With
wave,
those
a
numbers?
win. Oh, not a win, a wave, or not a wave, a win.
Not
right?
okay.
Um,
What would be a win for you?
if Zeldin wins,
Okay.
he just wins, right? It's yeah. I think every candidate that we had in New York State, from state level down to our local level here,
Mhm.
were fantastic.
Good candidates.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah,
I
we got
mean-
Lee Zeldin right now. Numbers
Right.
haven't really been brought. We're at 4%, so we still have 400.
Yeah, I can't even talk about that, right?
Yeah,
That
it's
part
only
makes me
500,000
nutty.
voters.
Yeah,
We're
can't even hear
still
that.
way far away from it,
Right.
but they've already called within minutes Chuck Schumer.
Yeah, but that's
Within
that's
minutes.
Sick. That's sick, right?
Isn't it wrong?
It's meant.
that's
It's,
wrong.
it's like
Yeah.
mental warfare. I
Yeah,
can't-
right,
yeah,
that is.
I think
Yes.
that's wrong because
But-
I can. If you look on Channel 8 News, it goes from 9 p.m. Things are closed. 9:02, Chuck Schumer's called.
Yeah,
But
no.
listen to this with Chuck Schumer, and this is what Bernie said. He's part of an establishment. Like, Chuck Schumer is like equivalent to the president of the United States when it comes to the people he's connected with, especially coming from New York City, right? So the people that he has align within that metro area.
But if
Mhm.
that's true, I'm not saying any of that isn't true. But if that's true, he's gonna win anyway. So why not let it play itself out at least till you got 50% of the
Yeah,
vote?
no,
Right,
I agree.
You know,
I
I
agree,
mean-
but that
Right.
goes to the establishment because it's like business as usual.
Right,
Oh, it's
right,
Chuck. We must well
right.
call it for Chuck. He's gonna win
Right.
because
Oh,
Chuck always wins.
There you go. I get,
You know what I
I
mean?
get
Like,
what you're saying.
That's what and again, just it suppresses
right.
That's
the
exactly
people
what it
that
does.
that
That's
his
exactly
opponent
what it
Right.
does.
and the people who supporting him.
Yeah.
They see that this black dude is really. And again, I rarely talk about race
Identity
always,
politics.
right? I try and pull it out, but at the end of the day, it's like we have to in this situation, right? They see this black dude really gaining some sort of momentum
Right.
and going against a giant who I think, in my opinion, is not a giant. I think Schumer's a coward, and as a politician has offered nothing to anybody over the last 20 years.
He brought us Anthony Weiner.
Oh, exactly. Right. Right. Like
That's not very
his
nice.
pockets has been fat for
Well,
some time. You know what I mean? So for Joe to even, for that's just, again, it's just suppression. It's like, don't even think about it next time, bro.
I think you're right. And then
Don't even do
we're
it.
talking, well, that's a great point. I didn't think about that myself, but look at this excellent. I mean, I heard this guy speak out in Greece and he
Yeah.
was very impressive.
Again, if you haven't
I
watched
know. Put
his
his picture
debate,
up. Let's see him
put it
again.
up
I just
multiple
wanted to say
point-
Joe Pinion,
multiple
Joe Pinion,
times.
Joe Pinion.
If you have yet to
Uh-huh.
listen to him debate Chuck Schumer,
or
Right.
anything,
Yo, he
anytime he
kills
speaks,
Talk, just
if
talk.
you made
Kills
it out to Irondequoit
Yep.
on Saturday to the rally, he
Huge
was
shout out.
there.
He's
Huge
very
shout out.
good. And
he's so smart.
he
But-
found out how conservative Rochester was. Like, oh shit, like he has no idea the history in this city.
Well, I
when it
can't
comes
wait to see the actual
that.
numbers breakdown. I want to see
Yeah.
where people got their vote. And
Mhm.
even in Rochester, which does tend to vote Democrat, I do want to see how
yeah,
specifically LeBron
But
did,
I'm
because
just
Joe
gonna-
didn't do very well.
I'm going to
in
just say
Rochester,
it right
I'm sure.
here because I have no skin in the game for this. But, this is like shame on the Republican Party, whether it be here
Yes.
locally
yeah.
or at the state level, that
Yeah.
people are just getting turned on to Joe Pinion.
Mhm.
Right.
And shame on them because
Yeah.
what a wonderful, great shot at the best candidate we could have had. And they did him no justice. So I think from here going forward, whatever Joe Pinion decides to do, he deserves better
Well,
from the Republican Party.
They blew the opportunity to dismiss that bullshit as the Republican Party is the party of extremists, racists.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, get the fuck out of here, yo. They so
well, you're
so
getting
whack.
me feeling more back into my mindset of the uniparty's working here. And if you think in those terms, you think, is this what the uniparty wants? It may
Mhm.
not be.
right.
Okay, so they'd rather, when you figure that, let's say Lavelle's absolutely right, and the Democrats that are all in New York City under Schumer's thumb are calling the race early and not
Mhm.
giving, doing everything to just suppress this guy. So he doesn't even think about wasting another year of his life in 5 years.
That's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And Mitch McConnell doesn't send the guy a dime.
Yep.
Right.
Oh yeah.
So now you got two boys who hang out in the Senate chambers, right? You got the majority and the
Mhm.
minority leader
Mhm.
saying maybe the people like Joe Pinion a little bit more than they should, and maybe we're both going to squelch this guy
Yeah.
before he gets his feet under him.
Mitch, you're not going to come support him, are you? I mean, you
Right.
got freaking Biden and Obama
Right.
out there. Can't you? Mitch
Right.
couldn't
That's
come?
why I think we need to come in to more of this grassroots and getting behind people like this, right? It's we the people, right? We were on We the People Podcast Network. We need to form this. We need to be stronger. We need more of the We the People to get behind people and not depend on either party to push it through. We know what's right. We know what this country stands for. We know what our city stands for, our state stands for. And going forward, we cannot stop. We need to just keep pushing.
Well, the Republican Party is kind of changing its identity back to what it was prior.
You think so?
I think, just look at the way that they've been able to kind of create these grassroots
Are you
I don't
thinking-
think the
but are you
party
thinking
is. I think
locally,
there's
though?
people.
the people within
There's
the
people
who
running
are
on the
aligned-
party.
Yes,
But the party does
The
not
party is
support
not
them the way
supporting.
that they should
but
be.
that those
Exactly.
people that you were talking about are the ones that were around. Again, I will never ever let the Republican Party off the hook for what happened with 9/11, for what happened during the Bush
Right.
administration.
Yep.
I will
Exactly.
never
They
ever
were
let
war
them
hungry.
forget that.
They were
shit.
war hungry. at
They
that
were
point.
war hawks.
And Patriot Act.
The Patriot Act, NSA,
Yeah.
every
All of that
single
was under
right
them.
violation they created
Absolutely.
that started within that. So
But that's the thing. We hold them accountable.
we hold them
regardless.
accountable regardless of your party.
Regardless. You want to take
regardless
away
of
our
it.
rights and freedoms during COVID?
Absolutely.
You want to take our rights and freedoms away from during 9/11?
Mhm.
Regardless, does not matter. You don't take our rights away.
Isn't it
Period.
striking how sinister the Department of Homeland Security has become?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
they're like they're like another CIA. They're supposed to
Mhm.
just be protecting the border, but they don't do the border. So, you
Nope.
know,
Yeah, you're right. And again, I will never let them off the hook. And now, though, like I said before, the party is starting to get those supporters that, again, they probably were a lot of them were Democrats before, a lot of them were independent. And then when you get the leaders that actually are articulate and understand what conservatism really means and less government and all those things, and they're like, yo, holy shit,
Well, not just
we
that.
got to
it's-
talk up. We got to do something about this shit.
right.
We
You know?
we gotta talk about we gotta oh man, Virginia is gonna be is probably gonna be a nail biter. We got Yesley Vega versus Abigail Spanberger.
The Virginia's always been weird though. Virginia goes back and forth every
Right.
year, every election. It's always
Mhm.
back and
Because
forth.
they voted for Biden 2 years ago,
Mhm.
and then last year they voted for what's the name? Starts with Y.
Youngkin.
Youngkin, thank you.
Mhm.
Now we have a
Trump went to Virginia with Hillary, I think.
Yep.
Trump
think
won
you're right.
Virginia.
I think you're right.
Yes, Trump won Virginia, and they thought that Virginia was going to go because of Kane. They thought Virginia was going to go. That's why Hillary picked Kane as her running mate, because she thought she was going to win Virginia.
I still did not know who. I still have no idea who she ran with. Hillary Clinton.
He was the former. His last name was Kane.
Isn't he running right now?
No,
he-
he's not running now.
Tom Kane.
Tom Kane,
Kane,
yeah, Tom Kane was her running mate.
Yeah, so it does flip back and
yeah, it
forth.
goes back and forth.
Right
yeah.
now, we have two women who are running.
She looks
for US
familiar.
House of
Who's she?
Representatives.
She's the Democrat on the left, right?
No, she's Republican.
She's Republican. What is her name though?
Yesley Vega.
The
Yesley
Latinos are
Vega.
showing up.
She's
familiar.
that's
Where have I seen her before?
the win is going to be with Latinos this for next 2
Virginia?
years. No, for this year, next year, the next year. It's going to have to be with Latinos because if you don't galvanize the Latino vote, I really believe that how LeBron does is going to be with Latinos. I really believe that because he's got Rochester and he's got not Erie County. How far does it go? Hilton, a little bit past Hilton.
Yeah.
Ronnie Coy loves him. Ironically,
I know,
loves
Lavelle, I know you keep preaching this
Telling you, man, they love
conservative
him.
Irondequoit and just driving over here, which
It's
is just
not.
on this, it's
It's not. It's not at all. Trust me. I went door to door.
It's not.
They're not.
Where? What parts? Eastridge?
No,
West.
no. I went. My focus was when I was walking before was the main thoroughfares because I'm not gonna give all my secrets away. Actually, guys. But it's super liberal. But then once you start talking to them and you talk to them one by one in a personal way, you can tell that there's not very much structure behind why
Right.
they would vote that way.
Mhm.
And then you start talking to them in a different kind of way, skewing a little bit differently, and you can say you can find a reason why they would agree with you, and then I would say, okay,
It's the virtue
There you go. Can
signaling,
you- can
you-
signaling capital. Is
Yeah.
what it is.
well,
the only reason
Yesley
why
Vega's-
You
ahead.
haven't,
the
you've not
only
been
reason
to
why I
Pittsburgh.
say that. The only reason why I say that is because if that was the case, number one, Morelli's son should have won, right?
And he lost.
Lost. And the only two Democrats that were actually no, the only one Democrat that was the leader of this town was Adam Bello, and now we know where he is. But the former supervisor was Maggie Brooks, and she was conservative all the way through, and she was here for
a
how long, and then she got elected county executive. So the foundation is
She wasn't that
definitely there.
conservative because the LGBTQ plus community
She's
loved her.
Republican though. She was Republican.
Sure. Yesli Vega is an actual Republican. She's a Salvadoran American, prior police officer who was neck and neck with incumbent Democrat Abigail Spanberger, who is a former CIA
What's her name?
officer
Spanberger, former
Spanberger.
CIA. Oh, I'm definitely not voting for her.
and known to be more centrist Democrat.
Really
So
in the CIA.
this one could be tough.
Yeah.
This one could be tough because you had Trump win, you had Biden win, you had Youngkin win. This right here, we don't know how it's going to end up.
Virginia's weird, man. Virginia's so weird.
But Trump supported Yesli, the Latina.
Didn't Virginia their new governor, the what do you call the superintendent? What do you call the governor's second command for a state?
Lieutenant.
Lieutenant governor. Okay. The lieutenant governor is a black chick who packs heat.
Yeah.
She does.
Winsome Sears.
Yo,
yeah.
she,
Mhm.
like, you know
And
what I
that
mean?
night
Like,
she won, I remember posting on Facebook because I was following her. And I said, where are all our breaking the glass ceiling?
they don't want
lovers,
that,
right?
They
It's
don't want that.
hypocritical.
And I
Very.
mean,
Left and right. We have a
she's
Latina
an
again
immigrant.
here.
She was a Marine.
Mhm.
She the
But
whole
see-
American package. And nobody
Here's my question, and Bernie's not here, and I've
Yak
a lot of
Evangelo or
Bernie
Feel the Burn?
Evangelo. We should have used that on him.
Yeah, I know.
We're feeling the burn tonight. But anyways, I have a lot of respect for him, but he does kind of explain things from the point of view of an insider, which is good and bad.
Mhm.
I think that you got to ask yourself, why doesn't everybody in the country know who Winsome Sears is?
Mm.
Everybody. If I was ahead of if I was Ronna McDaniel or whatever,
Right.
I would be touting that person
Right.
to the skies, because that's going to get the minority vote to look at the Republicans that much closer. Every single one of these candidates, this guy, Pinion,
Right.
this should be absolutely out there. And then you don't have to defend this racist
absolutely right.
Trauma-based
And you're right. And we
control,
should
man.
be blaming right down to our local committee leaders.
Exactly. And they won't
Right.
do
That's
it.
why I'm saying us
It's
as
the stupid
we the
party.
people
Well, 1 year round. That's the problem.
grassroots people, we need to be that voice. If they're not going to do that for us, then we need to do it.
It is hard when you have a community that has completely been brainwashed and beat over the head with the racist stick forever. And then where, all right, you go from Obama to Donald Trump, to where the media, where you trust the media and all the information they gave you all about from Obama.
Mhm.
Now the media is telling you that your new president is a racist, right? So I think collectively, the overall consciousness of the African American voter is so suppressed and so manipulated to that it will be so hard for them to see anybody outside of Joe Pinion, because as soon as they hear the word conservative or Republican, they automatically just go flashback to, oh, you're a Trump supporter. But it's not just African Americans though. It's everybody that opposed Donald Trump,
Mhm.
that you know what I mean, that are supposedly conscious voters. They're so afraid to even look elsewhere because they don't want to be, you know what I mean? They don't want to
Yeah,
be
I hear you.
criticized.
Listen,
what I mean?
here's one word I don't want to hear, and I'm his biggest fan, probably. I'm not his biggest fan, but Donald Trump. Tonight's not the night. And they've been saying,
hammering. Oh,
Right.
but that's the
Mhm.
propaganda that I was saying.
right.
It's such a terrible thing that you suppress the minds of, and it's not just African Americans anymore.
But he's not even in it, and they're still
They still use
correlating back tonight to voting. And
Trump.
it's
yeah.
crazy. It's crazy.
That's why
Mhm.
people. That's why when you have the Joe Pinions, and even with LaRon, right? Even with LaRon, I'm so glad though that Rochester is different, because the people that knew LaRon before
Mhm.
he ran still stuck with him and still supported him, and he was even able to kind of take pictures with Lovely Warren. I think that was a
spoke
very
a lot.
good thing for him, right? To take that picture with Lovely and I think it was her mom or somebody. But
Well,
we're
I
not
think,
into
you know, in this
think that was
election
big for
here
him.
locally, right? So we have Laron, we have Chief Van Better Road, even Lieutenant Governor, right? Allison Esposito. They came from law enforcement,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
They're public servants. That is, you can't play the race card on any of them because they serve everyone.
Morelli
and-
tried to. He tried to.
Doesn't count, right? He doesn't serve everyone. But I'm saying, like,
Yeah, but
Tho-
both Yesli Vega and Abigail Spanberger down there are both from. They're both from law enforcement. These two ladies.
Well, if the CIA,
CIA
Yeah.
don't count, bro.
Okay.
You're not gonna count CIA.
is
You say
not
it, I'm
law
You're not gonna
enforcement.
count the CIA.
CIA
I'm
is
saying-
not law
Oh,
enforcement,
I'm
bro.
saying that walk
hell
the
no.
CIA
You're
ain't
not gonna
walk
say
the
that
beat
to-
on the street.
Name one time the
Oh,
CIA had a drug
hell
bust
no.
that they didn't create themselves.
that's right.
Come on.
They've had plenty of drug busts.
Exactly. They the ones who set the drug bust. They the one who gave them the drugs. They setting themselves up. Like, come on now. They don't count.
Anyways,
All right. Do we have
they're at
anything local?
84%
Do
right
we-
now.
Do we have any local?
Who's 80? Them two? And
They're
it's
at
a toss up.
84%. It's right now. You got Yesli Vega above by 2%.
Let's go,
by
Leslie Vega.
4,500
Let me get
votes.
some more rebel to that, bro. Since we're gonna be here till
for Yesli, the
12
Latina.
a.m. Yes. Let's
You know,
go for the
Jose,
Latina.
anything
We
on
can't go
our,
to
on our
12 a.m.
local
Austin
counts
would
yet?
literally kill me.
No, I remember back during the Bush administration, and then also like McCain, and you know, the Latino vote was, which you know, just like it was for the African American community, was aligned with the Republicans, right? When did that change? Like when did they move to the left? I always thought they voted Republican. In recent election history, what has changed? Because I mean, okay, African Americans only make up 12% of the vote anyway. Like, it's not like we this big, huge linchpin in the overall
You could
population
be
vote.
if you
you
again
vote
with the Latinos,
85%,
right?
Yeah,
right.
one way, right?
Yeah.
But still within that. All right, let's say we swing 6 million votes over one way, right? 6 million
Okay.
votes.
Okay.
Still, there's a lot of Latinos in this country as well. When did they
Right.
ever leave? Like, when did it? Like, even within the last election with Trump,
Stop.
there was more. There was. I'm again just
Gonna
speaking
make it a
facts.
drinking game. Do a
I was
shot.
Speaking
Right.
facts, there were more. I'm willing to bet my right arm there was more African Americans that voted for Trump in that last election than any other time before, and they pushed the racist narrative all day long.
Yeah, yeah.
So now today, right? Now today, even if most
Rand Paul
African
has
American
won.
votes stay home. He did. Oh,
Rand
good.
Paul has won. Marco
gonna
Rubio has won.
Awesome.
Yeah, they're shoo-ins. They're shoo-ins.
Supposed to be Marco Rubio. They're supposed to be saying that had a hard fight, but
They
They already
tried to
called
come
it.
at Rand
What's,
Paul
what's
though.
going on in Michigan, Jose? You watching?
Michigan.
Yes,
Pull it
governor.
up. You don't want to see about Marjorie Taylor Greene?
You need those CNN like
She's also won.
war room visuals behind you, Jose.
Yeah, I don't have the
He needs the
You need that right behind.
yeah. You see that
The
guy over
Wolf
there? You see
Blitzer.
that guy over there?
Right now, we want to go to the war.
We gotta talk to the
Go to
money
the
bags over
board.
there.
Well, we need a green
grab it.
screen.
We got election update here. Right.
Right.
What's the guy name? What
John
is it?
King.
John King. There you go. There now here we go. We're
Michigan
gonna
is
zoom
still
in there.
not
This county
anything.
right here is typically Democrat, but right now, see, look, it's turning purple. There's a lot of people in this area north that are
Well, you gotta get the fingers
huge.
the
Right.
pulling things over. Michigan hasn't called anything yet.
He'll pull back former Bush elections.
yeah.
See here, this 2012.
What
Like,
about
oh
on
my
the
gosh.
left coast, Jose? What's Washington looking like?
Nothing.
Mm.
Jose,
Nothing yet.
we'll work on that for next year.
Thank you
Well, if
for the
we,
number one podcast.
Ooh,
out
look
there.
at-
yeah, if we
Georgia-
up the viewers,
Georgia's turning
maybe Tom will
red.
kick in a few more dollars.
Georgia started off
Where are you
that blue.
seeing Georgia turning red?
In my
Google's lying to me.
Google must be lying.
This
to
is
you.
exactly what I
this
wanted
old
to showcase right
they
here.
just brought up.
This right
on here,
now,
Austin?
no.
Is it? Are we getting to your
Oh,
you're
these
in
governor
governor.
results.
All right, hold on, let me
Yes,
see
that's
that.
good. That means Stacey Abrams
Yeah.
is losing.
Oh, Stacey Abrams has zero chance.
Oh, they were
Zero
I know,
drugging
but
her.
they. If you've been
They gave her
in
a
the green
shot.
room, we've
Zero
been
chance.
watching
Oh, yeah, I'm
as
not for
the
this shit.
percentages come in. She's been ahead. It's sick.
they've been bugging
Why,
out.
why
with her.
show it? It's such mental warfare that they put
Yeah.
on us.
Well,
Oh,
that's
it's
why.
going back to blue again.
Beat you down.
It's terrible.
That's
It's
what
going blue.
anything they can
So,
do. to-
Jose, we have a doctor at least in here tonight. If you have any concerns with these results come in, from anything you have from 2020, you need to talk through. You're here to support
me?
you. Yeah.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Ohio governor Republican.
Oh, DeWine's going to win easily.
So what is the 77?
Tennessee,
I'm looking.
South
What am I
Carolina,
looking
Arizona? Not Arizona. Sorry, Arkansas.
at? House seat results. Oh, they're destroying them in the House.
They're +5 in the House, and they haven't lost a seat they're holding thus far. The Republicans.
And then what about Senate?
Google
Close.
says that the GOP has gained 2 seats now
In the House.
in the House.
Yeah, according to I'm looking at Real Clear for what it's worth. They're saying +5 in the House. for
But
the
that means
Republicans.
nothing because if the
What really
Senate-
matters is the Senate.
Huh?
Because they already said that they're going to win the House. Are they going to win the Senate?
That's what they need to do. If they,
And how many are they going to pick up anyone in as a governor?
Right.
well, that all right, whatever with the governor, like that's a toss up.
Not whatever.
But when it comes to the House and the Senate, like you're gonna have a lame duck president.
No.
Yeah, because nothing.
No, Bill Clinton did it. Bill Clinton was a
Yeah,
Democrat.
but because he came to the right.
Right. He came to the
He
middle.
came to the middle.
moderate.
He,
Well,
yeah. But you think that's gonna
Biden
happen
ran as a moderate.
Joe Byron.
No, where the right or left is.
Would it work with Kamala?
Oh, hell no.
You don't think
Hell
so?
no.
You all right?
No,
there?
you almost made me
Jeez.
choke on myself, man. What the hell?
That's enough. To
Kamala,
What'd I do?
Kamala, anything, bro. She don't know right
Kamala,
from
nothing?
left, up from down. She is terrible.
All right. So
So according to what I've got right now,
Uh-huh.
again, Real Clear, you can see what the other opinion is.
talking local.
No, I'm talking the Senate. I thought we were
Oh, go
talking
back,
Senate.
go ahead.
Mhm.
I have Georgia Warnock 49.8, Walker 48.3 with 71%.
I got Warnock 49.2 and Walker with 48.9.
There we go.
Ooh, that's a good one right
So-
there. Let's go, Herschel
Sorry,
Walker.
9,000 votes. 9,000
Listen,
votes.
take it to the
An
house,
entire state.
Herschel.
For what
Take it to the
percentage in?
house.
What do you have? I have 71%.
Oh,
Okay.
you're a HUD. I'm at 62. So
All right, so
You're
we'll
better.
see. I
Yeah.
mean, they're
all right. So Google is not up to date.
not
clearly.
they're all
They
jumping
don't
around.
want
There's a
that.
surprise.
They don't want
I don't
that.
want that. I'm gonna get out of Google then.
Right.
So and then let's see.
Let's go to Real Clear on the
Yo, you know what?
map there.
I don't
Thank
want to
you.
be a fanboy, but here's the thing: like, if
You don't want to be a fanboy?
yeah,
Okay, continue.
Herschel
because-
was a heck of a player. I have to
yeah,
say.
I'm like, listen, if
He's
I
a very
see,
productive. He had 10,000 yards from scrimmage. I mean, what's wrong with that? How many
Right,
yards from
But
scrimmage?
can he govern? Can
Right.
he govern? Can he
regardless,
legislate?
I just want to see the left lose. I want to see this to be a rejection of all of the shit that they put us through in the last 2 years, and not just and just everybody on both sides, even on the left, even the people that are just blindly voting for these people.
Right.
Like, I really want them to like really lose, because then they'll have to go back to they'll
They
have
won't.
to start,
They
they'll-
won't.
bro. They have to.
They won't.
What are they gonna do?
They
Create
won't.
some other new shit? They're like, you know,
They won't. They are so stuck. Look, it's
they
like,
used to be
look
good.
Look at Austin and look at me, right? I believe in Christ the Savior. No matter what you tell me,
Hey.
nothing else matters. I will always believe it.
Austin
No
is our
matter
Christ
what.
and Savior tonight. He's doing a 3-hour.
Yeah, I appreciate
Yes,
Austin
yes.
tonight.
Bad example. Pick another one.
No,
Jose.
no,
Yeah.
but Austin is, he doesn't,
I'd like to thank Austin for
knows.
putting up with this
He
tonight.
knows, yeah,
He's
absolutely.
gotten a hard time.
He's the man.
but he clearly pointed out last week, 2 weeks ago, that that's a religion. That's a religious point of view. And I said that's exactly how the left sees it. They are religious in their beliefs. No
Yeah.
matter what you put in front of them, it does not matter. They will not change their
Yeah,
minds.
it's a secular faith.
Right.
Yeah.
And they have a way better program where they can put people in place to make calls, send out text messages, galvanize the vote, bring people to speak to council, as you've seen. You were one of how many people that actually spoke up in favor of police, and there were how many that were like against, they
Right.
wanted to institute rent hikes, meaning you cannot raise my rent this high. They wanted to limit the number of police. They wanted to vote against the
Yeah.
grant to provide police officers for speed safety on Lake Avenue, Dewey Avenue, Lyle Avenue. Like, no matter what you tell them, it doesn't matter.
They changed the
Jose,
game.
do you mind if I bring up one thing on that vein, right? I know last night we had our monthly Schlatt Community Association meeting, and you mentioned the other association, right? That
Yep.
We have in the Schlatt
Well, we got to tell
community.
them what she's talking about is I
and
actually
this-
had a
right.
Community
in
association has
each
said they don't
monthly,
want
if you're
police
not
there.
involved, if you're not involved in the monthly areas, right? So every month we have
They don't have one
from
in
our
19th
service
Ward.
center, the police
Yikes.
RPD comes in and does the spiel, and they're there to answer questions or take concerns.
They tell you how
whatever,
many
right?
crimes have been happening, how
Right.
many cars have been
Mm.
stolen, how many shootings, how
engaged,
many.
right?
They
And we're
tell you
there,
exactly
and
what's
we
happening.
support them, and they support us, and Jose's helped us build a really good relationship, and we realized that in our area, in the Charlotte area. But Jose, I heard you make that comment last night, and that shook me, right?
Mm.
That there's another association, community association in his district that said they don't want the police to attend.
What?
In fear of people, they say that they believe that people are in fear of showing up because of the presence of police.
Again, it's just propaganda manipulation.
I know, but
It's
so here's the thing.
But
So we're
yet
all
they
here
want, but they
around.
have the most amount of
Yeah, but still.
violent crimes.
Yeah,
Right.
it's still
The vast amount of money.
Yeah,
And then
you're-
we also
yeah.
had our Northwest Service Center representative there that was answering questions about different businesses, et cetera,
Mhm.
in there, and who's always well spoken and still was last night and in most professional way. But he had to take a moment because the 4-year-old he mentioned was right down the street, and you could see
The
he
4-year-old that was shot.
Yeah,
Yes.
shot. Another
He was-
one.
He
Another one.
was affected, right? He was visibly affected, mentally affected. And my God, we can sit here and we can pull up all of these things around our country and what are voting, and what this all boils down to is I want it to call out our everyday life and our interactions with the people that we deal with, and how this is affecting us, and how we'll see what we fall out here locally, but how important it is. And if we don't go in the right direction tonight, we can't give up, and people need to realize the
No.
impacts of what your vote means and how we change things.
I think this is a start. I think it's the last election, previous election, the president we got today. That was the starting point in more of a local grassroots type focus with voting. Folks was like, yo, all right, we can't the impact with the major election. It's like, yo, we can't control that. We can't really, but locally around here, we can focus on these people. Like, I think a lot of Republicans locally, and I give the Republican voters all the credit in the world, they were on every single thing that was going on, especially when it came to the COVID lockdowns, the restrictions, and everything. Like, yo, this is affecting and impacting your freedoms, your inalienable rights. Folks on the left don't have that type of, you know what I
But
mean?
the local Republicans did nothing.
right.
No, I'm not.
I mean, our county
county were
legislature
terrible.
was disgusting.
They did, yes, exactly.
I'm going to go on record.
100%,
I'll
yes.
tell you, Mark Johns loses
Terrible.
tonight. I got no sympathy for the guy. I mean, we went in there and argued against re-upping Mendoza. You should have been there. It was biblical. There were 35 people went in there, and they did their research, and they went up and down every single way saying why this guy should not be returning. I've offered to
And
him
thank you
multiple
for
times.
that. You've always done a great job
And-
representing and
And I've
speaking to
offered
them.
multiple times. It's not my job. I'm not going to take it, but I would help them find somebody. They never called me, never did anything.
Right.
It was awful. And Johns just votes right through there. He was one of the first people to make a comment
He
saying,
wasn't
well,
the only one.
right.
That's
And there was even one young woman on the Democrat side that I think heard what we had to say and say, she probably didn't really have a dog in the fight, but she still voted against Mendoza.
Mhm.
Even if she was grandstanding, she's the one person grandstanded. And, someone like Johns, my goodness, I have nothing to say to the guy, for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Absolute disgrace.
Yeah.
And if you think that you're a Republican and you think that you stand for anybody's civil rights, we're talking about civil liberties here.
Mhm.
We're talking be able to go out of your house. We're talking be able to open up your store when the one across the street is open and you can't open yours.
Right.
Right down the line on the Brighton side of the road, you could open your store and on the Pittsford side, you couldn't open your store.
Make that make sense.
That's
Yeah.
indefensible under any circumstance whatsoever. And this guy, oh, I do it as a full-time job. Well, I don't know what you're doing as a full-time job, Mark Johns, but it ain't paying
You
attention
ain't
to
paying
what's
attention.
going
Yup,
on.
exactly. That's
know,
what shocked me.
and
I
that-
was
that's-
shocked
and
when you
that
told
whole-
me they all like, what was the vote? Like 6 to
8 people in the whole thing voted in favor of not re-upping Mendoza, 8 out of 31.
Mm.
And one of them was a Democrat, that young woman, I don't know her name.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
So George voted the right way and Tracy voted the right way, but I mean the other ones, it was just unbelievable. I think Brew voted the right way in the long run, but when we went there 2 weeks before, he said, "Well, I'm not going to stop it in committee because it should go to a vote for everybody."
Right.
Well, then what the heck have you got to vote for?
Right.
They could have stopped it
They
right
had the
there, 4
majority.
to
Yeah.
3.
They didn't
Yeah.
have to.
They
Well,
didn't have to.
Well, what's
Right.
going to happen to what gave birth? Because again, with folks like Michelle, you know what I mean? Like people like you who put themselves out there and are part of the grassroots. That's what happened here. The people, not the politicians, because again, just like you said, the test was going to be all right when we got away from the COVID, you know what I mean, era, and now it's back. Now it's into okay. Now we got to talk about what happened. Now we got to talk about how we're gonna move forward. I wanted to know, or I was wanting to see what the local Republicans were gonna do, and they did. They surprised me. I'm like, wait a minute, were they not paying attention to Mendoza? We're not listening to the people who voted for them, throughout the years. Like, how could you support this guy?
Our whole city and county elected officials, we do not do a good job holding them accountable at
No.
any level.
No.
I think that's
And
going to change, though.
I'm waiting after. Yeah, I put all my energy up in it locally to tonight, but I
Mhm.
have a next move for our city as a city resident, and I still, you're good, Jose, but the rest of city council, it's time that we
They all
hold-
notice.
Yes,
Mhm.
and we need to get more people because you
Mhm.
can have all these elections that we have tonight that are very critical. Don't get me wrong. I pray to God we're going to end up on the right side of this one tonight. But I don't care what area you are in of Monroe County. If you're in Victor, if you're in Greece, if you're in Chi-Line,
Mhm.
you want to come and watch an Amerks game, you want to come and go to Jiva Theater, it's the city. And if we don't start holding the city and the county accountable, and that takes everybody, if you work in downtown Rochester, this is the hub, this is the city. So I don't care if you don't live in the city and you're not a city resident like myself, but you're in the surrounding area, you are part of the community, you are just as important of a voice to come to the table. We need to fill up city council, speak to council every month. Anything you need to do, contact the at-large members. We need to be loud and we need to be heard.
I
And-
created an app just to make it easier for people to speak to council. Like
Right.
literally, you download the app and you click on
That's great.
speak to council.
Did you?
Yeah, it
Hmm.
gives you all the information, and everything.
Now, will the people in city council, will they tentatively listen like you, or will some of them look at their cell phones and
I don't speak for anybody
hum
else.
and
I
okay.
do not speak for anyone else.
It
All I would just
doesn't
say
matter
is-
if I don't care what they do. That shouldn't be a deterrent to go.
well, we're
Make
switching
them
things.
feel uncomfortable.
Right.
Make them
Yeah.
feel uncomfortable. And you know what? In the last time when I was there,
It doesn't
Jose,
take
right?
much either.
And those folks that were there for, they just wanted basic rights to live, with heat and flushing toilet. And my God, but then they want to sit there and you go to a county ledge meeting and they're spending millions and millions of dollars at the zoo.
At the zoo.
At the
right?
zoo.
For the
Yeah.
love of God, for that money, what we could do for the people in the city to just bare minimum keep
Yeah.
the lights on, some heat, and let them flush their freaking toilet.
They want
What
more
the hell?
orangutans, man.
But
Well-
we need to.
Yeah, but that's not what they want.
And- but we need
It's
to
for
all
some
be
big
the
display.
voice
It's not
to
even
get
for
They
the
want to
animals.
enslave
Exactly.
more
Exactly.
beings. They want to imprison more something. They need more control. We need more animals
The
in
orangutan.
cages.
It's
The
horrible.
orangutan vote.
yes, yes. We need more.
I
of
would
them.
love the checkbook for the city or the county for a week. Let me do it. I mean, I can tell you for
Man.
what I make and what I have, I think I did pretty good. If you want to do that and let me do it? Oh my God.
See, what she's talking about makes it does change things, because remember when they had the brownouts of the firehouses in the city, they're going to actually
Good
turn
Lord.
off
Yeah.
firehouses.
They did it.
in a city and
Good
say,
Lord.
oh, we got to shut down one firehouse in certain areas per day, every day, per month to save money.
Yeah. It probably cost them more in bullshit, and paperwork to
Excuse me.
But that happened right before. But that
happened.
happened right before I came on, and I went up there and I found out who was on
called
the
bullshit?
public safety board, and I said, I called that person out by name, looked them right in his face. This is on you. This is on you. And that person was a prior firefighter. And I said, this is on you. You can't vote for this. You're a prior firefighter. You can't do this to your own people. And it ended up not going through. They stopped it.
Good for you.
What did they get him on? Like, what was his argument?
It's because there was somebody in power that potentially or allegedly that person answered to. Now that person's not in power, so people, I feel as though they have more leeway in their own lives to decide their own path. So
We got any new updates, man?
you're
Anybody?
gonna have to let me know, because I just went live on TikTok for probably the second time in my life.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Yo.
So you're gonna have people from
you
all
never
over
know.
the
I'm not
world.
gonna lie, I
saying
love
us.
me
Yo,
some TikTok.
TikTok gets it in, man.
We could do. I mean, I could look. I want to see.
Well, we
how-
got the map right here.
I'm a huge Herschel fan, so
You're a big Herschel
I
fan?
hope Herschel wins.
What is it about
man.
Herschel though? Honestly, because I can't, like, it's hard for me to ever fathom me voting for a football player.
I actually
Nothing against him. I just
I listened to
I don't
listened to
know.
Herschel before, and he actually knows his stuff.
I've
he knows his
never
stuff.
heard him talk about politics at all.
I did. This was during the
It's probably because he's in Georgia and has nothing to do with
during
you.
the Trump Biden campaign. That's when I heard
Have
him
a
speak
shot.
most.
Said the word.
He said, all
Let's
right.
do it. Let's
Do
do
it.
it.
Let's see where Herschel's at. Where's he at now?
But that was my first time getting
40.
exposed
He's
to him.
ahead. 49.1
Tell
to
TikTok every time
49.0.
That
Trump is
yo,
mentioned, they gotta take a shot.
They tried
You
to
don't have to get in camera.
the Democratic Party went at Herschel Walker with memes. They went at him with
He's
you know,
he's ahead by a tenth of a
negative.
point with 70%, and he was way behind in the beginning.
He was.
So
Early
we
bird.
just need him to
That's good.
win
He
straight
needs
out
to
tonight,
win.
so they don't have to have a
Over 50.
runoff.
I
Right.
hope he wins.
Yeah,
I hope
because
he
you know
wins
that
big
there's
time.
still going to be people who wrote in their votes or who sent in their votes that they're going to count for the next 5 days, and then somehow some pipe somewhere is going to burst, and
Right.
you're going to have to
Right.
explain that all
They'll
over again.
Stop everything. Yeah.
Even though what was it? It was like a leaky toilet or something.
Well, he doesn't live in Philadelphia. He lives- well, but
Yo, look up some of them Herschel Walker memes. They were really like.
Well, let's see where we are with this. Where are we with the Senate? Because that's really what we're 40 and 40.
yeah, but
locked up.
Herschel's got it right now. He looks good.
Do we have
Um,
anything local though? Do we have Laron? Yeah.
Channel 8 usually has better local news coverage.
Okay,
Rochester first. Sorry. As much as I am not a big fan of,
should be on there.
they got Kathy Hochul. They're winning 64% of the vote,
With how much in?
25%.
All right, that's okay.
So
And,
25%.
and how many with a functioning brain?
Stop it.
Well, you don't have to have one.
Okay.
You can run for the Senate without a functioning brain.
you can
be-
run for anything in politics.
You can be president.
anything in politics without a functioning brain. Look at Biden.
Look, yo, this is all of the memes that came up on Herschel Walker.
You're gonna ask me to see that? I don't have my glasses.
Just look at the shit. Every single thing.
I can't see him, but I'm gonna guess what
Dude,
Black
not-
Lives Matter probably.
That and
Yeah.
and of course, you know, Trump, but the main thing they wanted to kill him on was his sheriff badge that he had.
Right. Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Oh, that was a
Every-
big deal.
Every single meme, every single thing that they had, you know, that was connected with Herschel Walker, it talked about his intelligence, right? Talked about he was a sellout. Talked about he was, you know, anything that didn't align with any type of intellectual anything. It had nothing to do with his policies, had nothing to do with what he's gonna do.
Right.
Nothing.
Yeah.
So I hope he wins big time. Big time.
Well, I think you were talking about Georgia earlier, both of you guys,
Mhm.
and I think you
Mhm.
really need That's a state that could really use a realignment after
Yeah.
2020. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, I don't care what anybody says. I stayed up all night and looked at those results, and you know, Georgia, Pennsylvania,
Mhm.
Michigan,
man.
Wisconsin,
I was with you, dude.
Nevada, Arizona.
Yeah.
You would go back and they've already found stuff out. There's people in jail now. You know, don't tell me there wasn't funny business going on in those states.
Right.
They're just, I know all
That's
the
what I'm
states that it
referring to
was,
before.
right.
Like, I know Jose might need
Right.
some help.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Still,
Oh, that's what you're referring to.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
that's
for
just,
real.
that's just
I was
a
up for days, dude.
Yeah.
That's just a
For
fact.
Days.
And you
Right.
know what? There were memes going around. You talk about memes. There were memes going around school, my daughter's school, about how the election was thrown. Everyone knew it, but it's been gaslit so effectively
Right,
Mhm.
that
right,
nobody will even
Mhm.
say it out loud.
Right.
I don't know what
you can't.
happened. I just know everything stopped and then all this other stuff started pouring in.
Mhm.
Yo,
You could-
there's
That's
this
his
one
thing.
meme. I'm gonna read this meme for you, right? Herschel Walker can't speak coherently.
Stop. I
Deadbeat
can't.
father beat his wife a lot. His opponent can speak coherently, preaches every Sunday at MLK's church. Whoa.
And beat his wife
Yeah.
Right.
on film.
Right.
So, like, I don't know, they found a way to kind of campaign in like this new age of just
But how do you even like it's there's an old music critic named Lester Bangs who wrote for like Rolling Stone way back when it was like Gonzo is like, you know, he was like Hunter S. Thompson or something, right? And one of his famous sayings was, he wrote it about Elvis after he died. He said the greatest sin of any performer is contempt for your audience. And how can you not have total contempt for the electorate? To have a guy who's on film, his wife screaming out in the street about how he's beating her up. This is Warnock.
Right.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
It's on film.
Right.
She's screaming to the police about how he's beating the heck out of her.
Right.
And they turn around and say the other guy's a wife beater.
Right.
I mean, how do you
Yeah.
like, wouldn't you just leave out the whole wife beating
Yeah,
thing?
yeah.
I would, if I was their campaign manager, I don't know, maybe I'm not, that's why I'm not.
Well, look at the image they chose for this meme, right? And you see, and again, it's like this is, to me, you are allowing a party who is historically connected to racism get away with
Right.
pretty much saying another black man is incoherent.
Right.
Like, serious. Like, that's not
Right.
Racism. I don't know what it is. I don't know.
Right. No, I know. And but see, I look at that and being a football fan, I say, hey, that's Herschel
That's
Walker.
Herschel Walker. Yo, he used to play for the Cowboys.
Yeah, he was good.
And they did trade him in like the biggest trade in
Yeah.
NFL history and created the Super Bowl champion,
Right. So
Dallas Cowboys. It's
Okay.
another story for another day.
yes, it is.
Well,
Well-
but I hope he wins, and whatever happens locally, I think it's just a start. I think now any local election, I'm telling you, the folks that are in this city they're not playing. We're not playing, man.
Right.
And we're just starting out,
I hope
Definitely
you're
just
right.
starting out.
I hope and pray you're right.
But I give credit to a lot of the men also on the other side who are working with the community and trying to raise
Like
awareness
Clay.
of father.
Right.
Right.
I got out
You know what
there.
I mean?
Yesterday,
You know what I
right?
mean? Like the men who are assuming and taking responsibility to kind of get out there and talk to the people and importance of fathers being in the houses and
Yep.
and families, trying to restore that nuclear family. And even if it's not about just you within the family, just also the overall realization that you have inalienable rights. You are
Right,
free.
right.
You should have that right protected.
Right.
But I at this point, and if we're not all on board that crime is an issue, and the laws, right, the bail reform laws,
Right.
the impacts that they're having, it's just if there's not enough common sense, I don't even like to talk about it on a party line, right? This is just people,
That's right. Yeah,
right? And this is where you do that people over politics thing.
4-year-olds
This is
getting
what-
shot.
right.
There's enough of that.
But
Right.
that's
And
again,
that's,
goes back to your
where
inalienable
LaRon
rights,
and
though.
Chief and
Yeah.
all those guys, they're
Mhm.
all about that. And I don't, again, people over politics,
Yeah.
we got to get there.
But
We
you
gotta
gotta
say a special thank you very much for coming back again.
Thank you so
Dr.
much for
Clayton
having
Baker,
me, guys.
You've always brought
I love being here.
intellect here and some really
Anytime.
amazing knowledge.
Hey, can I tell one story before you leave real
Sure.
quick, right? Saturday, we were at the Rondequoit Town Hall here for the Lee Zeldin, Laurent, et cetera, right? Rally. So we're handing out signs, yard signs to everybody as they're leaving. And this gentleman comes up and he's like, yeah, I'll take him. And he has this Italian accent. And I said, what's your name? He says, Tony. I said, Tony, it's Michelle from in front of the hospital. He was from one of the trades from when we were on Elmwood every week in the cold. And, like we were
Right.
bundled up in our hats
Right.
and gloves. And I kind of made friends with this guy and his and all the trades guys. So when I'd go on Mondays, we'd wave our flags and protest the vax.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh my God. He goes, Michelle, I'm a registered Democrat. I vote all Republican this year.
Good job.
I hope
That's all it takes, though.
So, yep. We were making a difference on that street.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so.
It's gonna change, man. This
Yep.
city is not, man. This city is not no punk ass city, man. Don't deal with that manipulation over here.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks so much. All right. Local update. Where we at? Yeah, sorry. We're trying to get bites in finally at 10 p.m. Local updates. What do you have so far for this area? Anything so far for LaRon in particular? That's really what I'm.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the race right there, too, man. Yo.
I brought a wardrobe change for that too.
Yeah?
Yes, we have to. Yeah.
Where we at? Did we see it there? Attica. Dang. Hold on. Nope. Go back up.
No,
25.
Nothing yet.
nothing there.
Dang. See,
There's got to be something on the local channel now.
that is
It is
local
local.
channel.
It is local. They're normally late, right around 11 o'clock when you start getting local information.
I found when did I find out?
All right. Well, how come they have? How come they have above for Claudia Tenney?
Right. That's what I don't understand.
Bullshit. Uh-huh.
And
Are the
she's-
kids in bed? I'm gonna start swearing.
right? And no lie, I don't
Kids should
even
be
think
in bed.
there's.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even think that's only 6%. I think
That's only
Claudia-
6%. They called it.
no,
No,
they
no,
didn't
they
call
call
it. But
No, but they have. Some
I
numbers.
think that's gonna go one way.
Well, I get it. And you got it by the time you close and you hustle those things
Yeah.
downtown.
but
did
still,
they?
But still.
hmm
What is the dot next to Morelli for?
How about Senate?
the dot
New
next to
York
Mor-
State
he won.
Senate.
That means
that Morelli won
hold on. Where is it?
No.
What dot you looking at?
It's probably incumbent.
by Joseph Morelli? Oh yeah. What is that? Letitia Thomas. What are those dots for?
It might be incumbent.
Oh, coming.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
incumbent. All right. So out of those, who do you think is going to actually end up flipping?
Zeldin better. Let's just all pray for that one. Yeah. Let's just go there.
More in prayer, Michelle.
Yeah, Tom, you could jump
Come
on
on.
if you want.
I would.
Come on, Tom.
I would
Step up.
No, it's all right.
Come on.
You guys finish.
Do you
it
want to go
off.
back in the green room and we go
I'm already
live
getting yelled at
separate?
to go home.
They
Oh,
did.
man.
They did a really, really good job with pushing that abortion bullshit with Hochul.
They didn't push the comptroller at all. I didn't see.
They pushed it
Nothing
with.
for that.
They pushed it with Holcomb big time.
How about Michael Henry? How's he doing? He looks good. I'll give him that.
I've never seen anything about him either.
Shut
Never-
up.
I
He
didn't
was
even know
just
who-
here in China. You guys don't come out when I invite you to
I
these
didn't-
things.
Yeah,
Because we
I
can't
didn't-
go to every freaking event. You're like at every
Okay.
event, and it's only one side. You don't go to the other side.
Was there
I
one?
had-
I would
I
have
had
loved
to go
to
to the
go.
other
I would
side.
go to the other
What was
side.
the other one? You
I
didn't
wouldn't go to
invite
the other
me.
side. I wouldn't go
I
that
like to go
shit.
to the other side. I go to all
When
the
did they
sides.
have anything?
I don't know.
I've never seen a Democratic rally in the last 5 years. When?
Because they get 5 people and all in mass.
That's-
Probably.
They do a virtual one.
Yeah, they do
Virtual
yeah.
rally.
I may have gone where
Park
Kathy's shown up,
Avenue.
but
Park Avenue
Park
virtual reality.
rally.
sickos.
Oh,
They're
man.
fucking whack.
But the funny thing is, and it goes back to the story that we had before regarding the guy that got mad at me for having, how dare I have signs for Republicans on my front yard being a Democrat.
How dare you think for yourself?
Yeah, and
I didn't even see the picture of me putting that pinion sign in yet. How'd that turn out?
the picture of you. Oh,
What? Scroll
I
down
was,
with
I
it.
was so happy about that picture because Joe Pinion, again, is my boy.
Are you?
Are you guys going to be on tomorrow? No, Gino.
No.
Tonight, Austin can only handle one night.
Yeah, I work
TikTok,
early.
and
man,
you don't
know?
stop. Who said the
but if
I
you
gotta be
like
up
it,
at
hey,
5
look,
a.m. tomorrow,
let's
man.
plug it.
It might have been
Jose.
Tom. I'm gonna guess Tom. Let's see who wrote that.
What?
Who wrote TikTok?
TikTok and you don't stop.
Oh,
Gino. Okay.
But Jose,
I thought you just
if
commented.
they wanted you for another night, now might be the opportunity. If you'd like to be a sponsor, if you'd like to be a
Somebody
We
said
need
my
to-
name. Yo.
we need to
Who
get our-
spoke my
politically
name?
correcting
All right, so let me tell the
Oh.
people out there what it takes to get
fan
on.
club.
Let me tell you what it takes to get on the radio, because that's what I've been that's what I was focused on the first year when
What
we were
happened?
on
Trying to get on radio?
trying to get on radio. They make you pay for a radio spot per hour, and it's a lot of money. It's not cheap. And they say, well, the expectation is you're going to make up that money in your marketing, like you're going to promotional spots.
So Bob Lonsberry is paying to be on the radio?
I'm sure Bob Lonsberry has commercials.
With his soul, he's paying.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my thing is, you have to pretty much abide by what. It's not like you could put Tally Ho on there
Rick's
as a.
Tally Ho.
Hey,
Maybe.
Maybe.
I used to know the owner.
You know what? You got to start somewhere.
Don't
Who
be proud.
cares?
Don't be too
Don't be
proud.
too proud.
How do
All
you-
right,
bro.
All right, well, I did tell LeBron we're gonna go to the Mirage after when he wins.
Oh shoot!
He laughed. It
It's
was a
not
joke.
open.
It was
is
a joke. It was a
Yeah,
total
they
joke.
open.
We're not really going.
They're
I
open.
may have been there once.
They
or
popping
twice.
titties.
Working.
Mirage.
No, they're not open.
They are open.
Shut
they're
up.
definitely open.
Yes, they're
Oh, yeah,
open.
I still
They was
hear
open
ads
during
for
the
them.
Hell
bid.
yeah, they're open.
They stayed. They were essential.
95.1 loves it in there because they be giving out like. So
Are
I've
you
heard.
serious?
Hold on.
Yes.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, they give out stuff in there.
They,
Yo,
you know,
Jose,
they got those.
are you drinking over there, bro?
Got those
Um,
good commercials where it's just like
Here.
sexy lady noises, you know?
Sexy lady noises.
Yeah, yeah.
Sexy
They're
lady.
like
May you
the,
elaborate on that,
the
please?
Mirage.
It was
Yeah.
nice to know.
Oh yeah. You know, stuff like that.
Tom's loving it.
The barrel. Cheers, yo.
Cheers.
You
We're
go
gonna
get
cheers
the
to
barrel?
tonight, regardless of who wins
Yes.
or loses. Everybody on
Get the-
we're on Instagram now.
Get the
L'chaim.
barrel. Get all of them, bro.
The barrel,
Get Adult World.
the barrel is bad, dude.
so
it's
what?
bad.
So
Is that still
what?
rolling too?
It's rolling.
Yeah, they rolling.
Is that your district?
No,
Come on.
no. The only one in my
The
district
Mirage.
is the Mirage.
The Mirage is
The
all
one
in
that's
there.
been hitting off
You
for
used
years.
to have the Cordial Lounge, but then that got shut
On
down.
Lyle,
Yeah.
let me tell you a story about Cordial Lounge. My older brother, I'm not gonna say what he did for a living back then,
Mhm.
but he would ride around with a drink in his, BMW, and he would pick me up from school. Right when I first met him, I was 15 years old. 15 years old, met him, didn't know he existed. Right? He said, "I'm gonna pick you up from school." Hell yeah, pick me up from school. Yeah, I want to hang out with my older brother. Picks me up, go riding around the Lyle Avenue. Right? He picks me up from West Irondequoit, and he's riding around like Lyle Avenue. He's like, "Here, come on, let's go in here." Takes me into Cordial Lounge. I'm like, "I can't go in there." He's like, "You can go wherever you want." All right. Walk in there. The guy at the front door, he looks at me, looks at my brother. He goes, "That was it." I walk in, and the lady comes around. The very nicely dressed young lady comes around and asks me what I would like to drink.
Sprite.
I said no. I said Corona because
Oh, are you in hard? Okay.
Corona, I think. And I had one of my first drinks was at Cordial
At a
Lounge,
Cordial Lounge?
on Lyle. It was a Corona at a strip club.
That's awesome.
Did you get a hepatitis test after that?
No, there was nobody
You just
working.
were well-rounded
I'm pretty
after
sure it was
that.
just a bar.
Was it
Like,
just a bar at that time?
there was nobody dancing.
Oh, it was okay.
It was like just bartenders that were scantily clad.
yeah.
But it's one of my favorite stories because
That's
was
a
my
good
older
introduction
brother.
to your brother.
yeah,
That's
my,
a great
my
way.
first time ever meeting him again was my 15th birthday. My uncle says, "Come with me," and I was like, "It's my birthday party. We're having it at his house." I'm like, "Why am I going to leave?"
It's at 15. Do you do like what the kids, whatever?
That's for girls.
Okay.
Quinceañera.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I guess I was becoming a man that day. No, and he's like, "Come with me." And then he goes inside and he's like talking to my mom, my grandma, my aunts and stuff like that. And I can see in their face like they're concerned. I'm like, "What the hell's going on?" And I was like, "All right, let's go." We get there, and my uncle, it was both my uncles, and he had like a 2-door Bronco, bumping music. My uncles are hood to the core. Like they were just ghetto fabulous, right? pull up to this pizza place called Dino's Pizzeria. I walk in and I see this guy, and I immediately know he's my brother. Immediately, without a question. I looked at him and go, "You're my brother." He goes, "How'd you know?" My uncle looks at me. He said, "How'd you know?" I'm like, "Look at the freaking guy! Look at the guy." So I met my older brother at 15 years old, and he's amazing now. Some time away did him some really good, because now he no drinking, no drugs, owns multiple real estate. Did like he got into roofing. Got into roofing as soon as he did his time away for whatever. Got into roofing, and the man has been just killing it. Ever
Would you say
since.
he pulled himself up from the bootstraps?
From worse than that? He brought us up from like
Nothing.
no shoestrings.
But
No, that's what I'm saying.
so
That's-
some
that's the
consequences, right?
analogy.
He paid the consequence
He
for
did his
some of his
time.
actions,
Mhm.
and look at he came out a better man.
Came out.
Bro,
what a
he's making
freaking concept.
he's making
huh?
probably $50 an hour.
Was
right now.
he?
Right.
Was he? when
But
he
how
got
many
out-
people do we? I know people from that. That's
And
follow
I
that
told him
same
about
track.
the podcast earlier, so he better be watching.
So all the people that are out there that they keep letting go, you know what? That's purposeful. That's not helping.
Sometimes time
Right.
away does a person
That's what I'm saying.
good.
Yes.
Especially when
1,000%.
you don't ever get the same amount of
can't. I just
birthday
can't.
cards, letters in the mail,
It's
phone
just
calls from a
consequences for
person.
your actions.
until
right?
they go away.
accountability.
Right.
Yeah.
Where are we at for updates here? Because we're just like
I don't know.
wasting time here at this point. Because I really want to see some updates. We're not really wasting time. I'm giving away my
When are we
life
heading
story
to
here.
the Marriott though? We're gonna wrap this
Well,
up.
I. All right, so Republicans are 41 for Senate versus 40 Democrats. The House, Republicans are +7. Oh, they've gained 7 chairs. All right, so 141 chairs versus the 80 that the Democrats have.
Jesus
currently.
Christ! Can you get some old lady screens here?
We need to put it up there or something like that for her.
Okay.
Make a big
Governors,
font.
Democrats are +2 for. They've gained governors. Democrats.
Hello.
Is that what I'm reading right
What
there?
did that say?
That Democrats have gained 2 governors
Yep.
and
Plus
Republicans
2.
have lost 2.
But nothing's been called. What was that? Oklahoma. So far, everything's Republican. So what are they talking about? Is that what they? Is that like a estimate?
No, that's not even. It's not even close to done yet.
Yeah. So what are they?
You know, I hate this. This is what I don't like about.
Yeah.
I hate
Too
this about
soon.
election night. They call it like way too soon.
Mhm.
They did it when Trump was beating ass.
Right.
Cheers.
Oh yeah.
And again, I like this game.
Uber. And
Peter
so
Gill, are
they,
you coming over?
no, we're going to his hot tub. He's going to do one of his
Yo, Tom,
podcasts
why
in the
did
hot
you
tub.
get in the
Remember?
chair, Tom? That's what I want to know.
We
This is the quietest I've been. Like in your presence, I haven't heard a thing.
come on, Tom.
What?
There we go. There's Tom.
Oh,
here he goes.
There you go. Are you
I gotta
falling
go
asleep
home.
over there?
I gotta go home.
Yeah, we all do.
Really?
But
No,
there's-
you're
there's
coming
a-
to the Marriott. Is
There's
your
a
wife
lot
watching?
going on.
Can I just go home?
Yes, but there's a lot going on. And throughout the year, you and Kimberly have been at the forefront of all the crazy shit that's been going on.
I can't remember a damn thing we talked about.
Tom's got COVID.
I got
Dementia.
COVID- I
You got COVID
right?
dementia. But you know, this is I think for a lot of people, this has been the closest in our history that we've been like to losing a lot of our fucking rights. Like, period. Like all the way down. This anti-capitalism, right? Like this is a deliberate attack on freedom. Period. Uh-oh.
I paid for it. Can I touch it? Okay.
Not while we're live.
Yes, Dad.
Listen, man.
What the hell were you talking about, Lavelle?
Well, I was just saying, you know, just off of yourself and your show with Kimberly, it's not like
Yes. Joe Pinion. Say it
we
again.
all don't
Say it
share
louder.
the same, you know, concerns with the country and where we're headed and what's happened to our just
Austin, what is
ability
this?
to be free.
What is this spam on the right here?
I
This
know,
chick,
right?
Pretty as a peach, country folk.
Is this coming from the
Yeah.
computer site?
Christ.
This is off of computer history.
Who is this?
It goes off, yeah, it's off of search history that Austin does.
Mhm.
This is Tom's computer.
I spent like $3,000 on that thing. What are you talking
Oh
about?
man, What you-
That's when you need that. There was no pictures taken.
Toucan.
Took it.
Yeah. That's a Kimberly thing.
Right.
So, I mean, I know you voted far left on everything, right?
I voted all conservative except I couldn't vote for Christine Vasquez Demo on the conservative line because she didn't get the nomination.
What a crock of shit, right?
So I had to
Wow.
cross over and vote for her on the Republican lines, which I am
About that.
very pleased to do.
Nicely done, Tom.
You can win Working Family Party, which is super left.
Right.
Super
they are
left.
super left. They are.
Super left.
Yeah. I don't
And
even know how
Democrats,
that's
and
working
still win-
family.
and still get the Democrat line.
Mm.
I don't understand that.
All I know is I'm the only one that wore red today.
Is that really red?
What's wrong with you people?
Is that red?
That's not.
Well,
that
it's
looks
not
the
pink.
quietest maroon.
Is it
I don't know,
pink?
but where did you guys vote? I don't. How do you get those?
It's Shalat.
All right, but
How did you get that big ass?
You got a
freaking
big
voting
ass
thing?
Yeah,
sticker.
Yeah.
Mine is mine
I think
wasn't
I'm
they
gonna,
gave
that
it to
I,
good.
I don't
Republicans.
usually say this, but I'm going to say I think size matters.
It does. You just whipped,
A woman
you just whipped it out and
Right. She
put
did.
everybody to shame up in here.
I don't know how you guys got the little ones, but
Mine
You
is
know how
little.
we did.
Yeah,
Mine was little.
Got it from my mama.
um,
But seriously, I don't get it because she was not on the. When I was looking down the conservative line,
Mhm.
it was Republican conservative,
Mhm.
pretty standard
Correct.
until it got to her.
Right.
Yeah.
It blew me away when I saw someone who was on the same line as a Working Family Party and on the conservative line. That is
He paid for that.
unbelievable. That's fantastic to see, though. To be honest, I do want to see that,
no,
but that also shows that there might be some.
yeah, not good.
Weird
Are there
stuff
any
going on.
results on the family court cases here? Is there anything?
Oh,
I
we
mean,
never
do we
even
have
went-
anything
we didn't
with
go
that?
past
Well,
the.
Like I said before, right? I think what happened here locally, the grassroots organization happened here in this city is going to transcend to further elections. It's going to be a lot harder for people to run and like get away with the bullshit they got away with. And even all the way up to the, the establishment within the Republican Party, they're on notice. They're on notice, and they better shape up or ship the fuck out, as they say.
Yes,
You know,
amen. Yes,
All right, with 47, is that say 47% reporting, or is that 67?
shoot,
Was it?
Zone's
47?
getting worked.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, he gained some on that one.
we knew that.
All right,
though,
so
right?
comptroller. I don't think anyone even knows.
I
what
think
comptroller does.
same with Pinion. His surge came too late, right? And they saw what was going on with LaRon. LaRon started early. LaRon was out there early, and he's been
But Monroe County has a history.
Going on?
yo.
Monroe County has a
2%.
history.
Hey,
of-
wait.
Who
Let-
reported first?
hold on
2%.
LaRon
He's
here
getting
for a minute.
destroyed.
right?
2%. I'll take
Okay,
that.
go on.
LaRon 75%. He won. Whoever that is, LaRon beat the shit out of Morelli. And that
Those are all the
Well, I-
Chai Life
I-
voters.
wait.
Chai
Oh,
yeah.
voted first.
That's
Chai voted first.
that's the Republican town better known as Chai Life.
But that's funny because now we have a Republican who's trouncing a Democrat there. Can they see
All right.
what you're putting? on?
Bad example though, but
No, no,
Oh,
Yay.
great example.
no,
Yay,
because I
quick.
want to see who is reporting first. So go back
Yeah.
up to the map, all the way to the top. Wasn't there a map?
oh,
Somewhere?
Austin, I feel for you, my friend.
Yeah, sorry, Austin. I love you.
The man.
I got to be able to see here now.
Yep. Put those.
Put my cheaters on.
You put them
no,
on.
Never mind. All right. Well, we can't see which area of New York has. put
I
in all
don't
their
think they would.
votes.
I don't think they can tell you
Yeah, you
that.
won't be able to. They're not.
Well, the thing
too-
is, LaRon is not. It doesn't include New York City. So
that's yeah.
No, it's
That's a lot
mostly
of it right
Monroe
there.
County.
That's
and
all right. That's all that matters.
Part of Orleans.
all right. So
Updated 6 minutes ago. So right now, Morelli's got he's winning by like 90% now. 6 minutes ago.
Morelli.
Yeah, Morelli's winning now. 6 minutes ago, LaRon was winning.
Yeah.
When are the ballots going to come in the truck?
I know, right? When they-
Wait, go back.
Allegedly.
How are we doing? Oh, there's nothing in for
The
I
chief's
gotcha.
got the
Okay.
chief has 0 votes at this
All
point.
right, so
Okay.
everyone has 0 at that. Oh no, we got more there. State Assembly for
Marjorie Burns is a good one. Let's squeeze. for
But I
her.
don't. You know,
is that
again,
Spezzano in the morning?
Scott
No.
Spezzano? No, that's the wife,
Oh.
Sarah.
How's nothing for Chanelli?
It's not my area, so I have no idea what that is.
All right, those are.
They're all zeros.
Oh wait, what? Go back. What was that one?
Where's
No, it's Holly.
Marcus?
It was 0.
Okay, they ain't reporting yet.
Yeah.
Marcus is still officially tied at 10:30 at
Yeah.
night.
See, that's how you
And
manipulate numbers
Orlando,
there.
right?
That's how you manipulate.
Way to go,
numbers.
Marcus. You're
Orlando's
tied.
my
You're
guy.
tied.
Marcus,
You're
you're still in
tied,
it.
buddy.
Demond didn't even do anything. I don't even think he put up any freaking signs.
No.
He did. If you go in the city,
I
they
saw
all
a
have signs,
couple,
yeah.
but they were the same signs he had from the first election.
Why would he change it up?
Yes, he had the same signs.
Someone told me to change my signs up. I'm like, my signs were the most like the differentest. Is that a word?
The check.
The most different.
I'm going to be honest, Jose. I'm pretty sure I didn't vote for you,
That's fine. I'm okay with that.
but I got you next time.
That's fine. Again, I also didn't have the support of the police union.
Right.
Either.
But you know what? And me saying that I didn't vote for you is a really good example of not doing your homework, right? That I'm sure I voted straight line.
Yeah, you definitely voted for Leticia Stasio.
She was
Did
she
I?
was Republican.
Yeah, you did.
She was
No,
Republican.
she wasn't
Oh,
Republican.
I'm about to
Saying that.
say.
I just wanted to make sure that. No Republican ran.
I want the freedom
Okay.
to drink, bitches.
I don't think. Hold on, let me think. I don't think so. No.
You were unopposed, Jose?
In a general?
Yeah.
I think so.
Well, there you go.
I actually have no idea.
Well, you won't be this time, I have a feeling.
You definitely won't be this time.
Oh, by Republicans?
No,
No.
Not for your district. Who's
No.
going to run against
The
you?
primary is going to be the problem, right?
I don't think anyone who's going to run against me will have a bigger name than Stasio.
She's thinking about it
No, what I'm saying is
because she is in your district, right? She lives.
she
in your
was
district.
at least.
She's still
No.
there.
Is she there still?
I have
She's
no
still
idea
there.
if she's still there.
She's
I don't know.
still
I don't pay any attention to her.
All right.
She's still there, bro.
Good answer.
No attention to her.
She's still there.
But what I'm saying is no one else is going to have
Yo,
a
you
bigger
know
name.
Van White
than her.
went for judge again.
How many times? He's done a million
I
times.
saw
bro.
I saw him on the battle. I'm like, God damn, bro. Give somebody some chance. Give somebody else some shine.
Well,
Stick to the city school district. You're fucking it up there enough. Like,
I don't think he's there anymore. Are
he's still there.
you sure?
Yes, he's still there.
Can we
man.
just get rid
That's
of
a
the city school
paycheck.
district? Can we get rid of him?
I don't know.
Why not?
Why can't we just make it? Why can't we clean it up? I mean,
It's too much money being funneled through there.
That's
Yeah.
$1 billion.
It's too much money
Right.
being
$1
funneled through
billion.
there. Yeah, there's a lot of money there, man.
You know how much money that goes into it? It does not go into teachers' hands.
No,
No.
That's not into teachers. It's
No.
not going to classrooms.
it's
Nope.
with everything. That's what I'm saying when I
And the
said
city can't
earlier
touch
about
it
give me the checkbook for the city, all the grants, all of the tax money, everything that funds through. And what does the average person? How many people are in the city, Jose?
210,000.
Okay,
approximately.
210,000 people. That's it. Do you think we get $210 million?
More than that.
Okay. Like,
So let
I
me-
mean,
let me tell you what it is.
But the city
let's break
the
it
city of
down.
Rochester doesn't get the money from this. That goes directly to the city school
It
district.
goes right to them. Right.
Any
No, I'm not talking
any
about- I'm
state
ta-
funding or federal
But
funding.
between the
each-
school district,
it
the
costs
every
each child-
angle of the government.
It costs each child in New York State about $33,000 to $35,000 per student
Mhm.
in a city school district.
But send them to school with a box of Kleenex because you can't afford
But I
that.
can send my son to private school at North Star and pay $7,500. So why do we do it then? Why don't we just pay a bunch of Christian and Catholic schools to create, private schools and then pay them $7,500 per kid and then give the money back to the freaking taxpayers?
That's a lot of
Freaking
hush money
teachers
to
unions
indoctrinate.
are the most corrupt things, and this is
Mhm.
and
That's-
what we're watching tonight.
That's the
and what you
working
see
family
happens
party.
with
That
those
is the working
teacher
family party. Is
unions,
the
it's
teachers union.
But
freaking
they sold
disgusting.
themselves out to indoctrinate our kids. You
Yes.
think about that shit for
That's
for
where
them
people
to do
need
what
to
they
wake
do.
the fuck up.
Yeah, man.
Uh-huh.
Remember
How are
when
you
they were on
giving kids?
vacation? Remember when they were
Bro.
flying
Sorry
to Puerto
your
Rico?
mom, Thomas.
Yes.
She's listening
How
to
are
that.
you giving kids? I mean, I'm all for giving
dare
kids
you.
resources and stuff like that. But they were giving kids laptops like they were freaking, I don't even know, paper.
And
Like
again,
it was paper.
people don't realize how are they logging into these laptops? with a Gmail account.
All their Google
owns
information is going
everything
in, and
about
they
them
own
for
your
the rest of their
kids.
lives.
They own your kids.
Google owns
Yep.
them.
Yes.
Owns
It's
them.
sick. It's sick.
Microsoft's right there too. They're all part of it.
Oh,
man.
they are.
It's the same. Yeah.
They're all part of it.
Who do you think? Who do you think was behind it? Again, Bill Gates was behind it.
Common Core.
Yes.
They rolled it out like it was the greatest thing. We want our kids
Let's
to
keep our
think
kids at
critically.
home. Let's keep our kids at home. Oh, let's give them a computer for free.
Yep.
Why?
Right.
Oh no, don't worry about it. Let's just give them a computer.
Yo,
and a Google account.
I will.
And a
I will
Google
say
account.
when I was teaching my son, right when the pandemic hit, and I had to learn like Common Core, I was like, "This is the dumbest way to do math."
But Lavelle, how long has Common Core been out there?
Oh, it had like what just before
Private
Common-
schools don't teach that.
No, Common Core was like maybe 2 or 3 years before. No,
Why don't they just bring back the abacus?
no. Wait, my daughter.
Tom
okay,
remembers it.
hold
I
on,
had
hold on.
one.
My daughter was
We did
she's
in
in
school.
kindergarten. She's 14 now.
But I'm saying it was
So
it was the
about 10
pandemic
10
that caused you
10+
to
years.
realize more or be more attentive to what
Oh no,
was
no!
going on.
I'm from
No,
the
he
jump.
was-
I was from the jump with Common Core. My daughter, who's now 14, she was in kindergarten when they first started that shit. And I was talking to the teachers back then. I was like, "Yo, this doesn't make any sense." Like
Okay.
what they stopped teaching them letters and had them focusing on sounds,
Mhm.
right?
That
Like,
sounds like shorthand.
yeah, they
Remember
weren't.
shorthand.
They
I took it.
they
I'm
took
that
away.
old.
They took away the A, B, C, D, like the normal way that we all learn, our alphabets, and then learning. And from the teacher, she was like, and this is the teacher's perspective. This is why she's not teaching now. She's like, it was so frustrating for her because, all right, you would remove the basic way of learning to dumb the kids down, and then you would present something that was too advanced for them to learn. So the kids were kind of like going backwards and just being stunted.
Like CRT and social justice.
It's the whole thing. But I look back now. I guess that's what I don't know. I don't have kids, so I wasn't that close to it. But when I hear Common Core now, I think about where we're at. I think that was the
the first shot.
that was
across
the
brow.
foundation.
Yeah,
exactly.
they knew that what they can get away
Right.
with, and like,
I
these
always
parents-
remember hearing
these parents
Common
don't give a
Core,
fuck.
but I never
They're not gonna
understood
fight.
it.
I was the only one screaming. I was like, "Yo, how many times I had to argue
I
with?"
didn't know you then.
Oh well,
Are they gonna convert to the metric system?
That was
they
my
can do whatever the fuck they
generation.
want now because with my son, my youngest son, they were trying to present all these different type of reading assessments, math assessments, and everything was based off a number. I was like, whoa. I was like, who is in charge with figuring out the cutoff, right? To say, okay, if you don't align within this number, you're now automatically classified as whatever. You are not smart enough, whatever. So what happens to those kids? Are you going to pull them into this whole other group and say, okay, these kids aren't smart enough, so now they classify as special ed, whatever?
What about Tom's kids?
Well, to answer Lavelle's question, that depends on what district you're in. If you're in a
It's city school
district,
district.
if you're in a district that's got big time money to it,
Right.
then those kids get special treatment because they got the money to throw at the programs. But
Right.
if you're in a rural type school district where all the kids are thrown together, those are the kids that get left
Urban?
behind.
Mm.
So, my kids went to Gates Chili. I had one child that was excelling, and I had one that wasn't. And the one that wasn't now is a school teacher because Gates had a lot of money that went into special ed and really helped her to the point now where that's what her goal was because of her special ed teacher.
Oh yeah, they're not
And if
helping.
Dan was here, he'd be saying some colorful things that would
they're
probably
not
get us kicked
helping
off.
the kids
I
that fall
still can't believe
behind.
no one's caught that.
They're
still can't believe no
taking
one's
them
caught that.
away, and then they're putting them in another group, and
They're
they're
gonna
saying,
go look for
okay,
it right now.
we're just going to teach you this because you're not smart enough to learn that.
Well, that may be what's going on now, but that didn't happen with my daughter.
Yeah,
So
my son's 10.
Can we
He's
go
in
through the
trenches.
questions? We haven't even talked to the people who are listening.
You made them listen for 3.5 hours.
Common Core is teaching to the lowest level student in class.
Mhm.
that's true.
That's
Yeah,
what
the weakest
Dan's
link, yeah.
that point.
Has been around for over 12 years. They
Yep.
started after my son was in high school.
Yep.
With
which
me,
is
it was
allegedly.
new math.
Oh,
New math.
Yeah, that's what they called
Yes, yeah.
new math.
it. New math, they called it.
Okay.
What do you mean with you, though?
I don't know.
Math
I
never
remember they
changed.
That's what
But
happened
I
when
don't
I was in
remember what it
middle
was.
school. It came out. I mean, I didn't know what the old math was, but they called it new math.
I just remember
It
you
was
had,
this
to
big
memorize.
thing.
That was it. You had to
No,
memorize.
there's no more memorization, bro.
No, but I remember when the kids, like my nieces, they would have their math problem or whatever. It wasn't, you didn't
Fetterman
add it
has
down. It was
81%.
some
Oh, good lord.
crazy ass shit to multiply or
yeah, so
right. It
Gino.
wasn't like how we
Love you.
learned it.
the basic
cheat codes.
the
No,
you didn't
basic
show up to
theory
bowling.
of Common Core is to take a double digit, triple digit number and break it down into single digits and then add the single digits together to
Yeah, it's
come up
not-
with the
that's
answer.
not-
It's not math.
Huh?
It's no, exactly. So you take
No,
so
because they
for
want you to
example,
have short-term memory. They don't
yes,
want you to
they don't want you
remember
to think.
anything
They
that's
don't want you to remember
long-term.
anything.
That's
Right.
simple as that.
So you
Okay.
take simple equation, right? 200 plus 10, right? So how many hundreds are in the 200s, right? You got 200s, whatever.
Not stopping it, Gino.
So they want you to break down 100 and 100. Then they want you to break down how many
Oh, no.
tens make up the 100, right? Then
You
they
were
break-
doing that homework.
Yes, I was
Lavelle.
doing that fucking
Yeah, he
homework.
was.
And they make you
Jeez.
break all that shit down into the single
Were you
number.
getting angry? Were you the parents during
Yo, it
COVID
was
that was
so
like, yo,
annoying.
what the hell are you talking?
Because
Smacking
it's
the back
making
of his head.
this making my son do more work because he's
Yeah.
doing
Right.
more math.
Right.
And he's
Right.
like so fucking
All right,
confused.
so do you believe in homework? Do you think kids should have homework?
No, I
Yes.
do believe kids should have
think so?
homework.
Yes.
I,
All right,
I
see,
think
this is where I
yes.
agree with Austin being a lefty over here. I don't think that kids should have homework because when I leave work, I don't take my work with me. I don't do it.
I think it's with math and science.
If you need
it's
extra studies-
repetition.
Right.
It's
Yeah, doesn't
repetition.
Yes,
homework
yeah.
doesn't
It's
homework
repetition,
reinforce
But isn't
what's
that
being
what you
taught
go
in
to
the
work
classroom?
for? Isn't that what you go to work for?
But yeah,
No,
but
but-
you go to your seminar in school and then you go home and you see what you learned from being in school.
Mhm.
And
Why
then
don't
you
they do it
repeat
in
And you
school?
can say you don't take your work, but like, what about what if I text you something as your constituent?
No, I don't
and you
answer you.
me. Okay.
Any entrepreneur is working 24/7 anyway. Period. But I think
Yeah, I quit my job, a 40-hour job, a 40-hour week job in order to do a 96-hour a week job.
that's the way it
fantastic.
is.
Right.
That's the way it is. But when you
It's a good
talk about
choice.
learning at that age, everything is repetition. Everything's repetition. And you
Yeah,
go
but
to
how long do they need that repetition?
well,
like-
just think within just a class period, how much are they
I'm not
retaining?
saying do all night, but if they're multiplication and they go home and they have
Well,
to do
Austin's the
15
closest to
minutes-
school age. Austin, how do you feel about? Do you believe that kids should be leaving school with homework? And he's the resident
the mic,
lefty here.
the resident lefty.
So homework, I think, does have a purpose for some kids, but my problem with homework, and the reason I never did it,
See,
Immediately
Immediately
knew
knew it.
It's because you wanted to be here
Immediately
for
knew it.
4 hours listening to a bunch of
because I
hot air.
I always aced all my tests, so like what did it matter?
So why do I have to do my homework?
Right. But the tests are the summative assessment. They're the proof that you know what they
Mhm.
taught you.
Uh-huh.
And that's what I think should matter
Okay.
as far as like grades and stuff. But some kids probably do need homework for that repetition, for that. That's how they learn.
The Dan kids that he called.
Yeah.
We're not gonna say.
Yeah. No, exactly.
Yeah.
Shout out to Dan from the streets.
Yeah.
I swore he was gonna be here for this episode. I thought he would be.
Well, did you tell him about it?
No.
Well, he's not on social media. He's not going to hear about it.
But the talented students, I totally agree. You got to kind of know your audience, right? Like you're not going to hammer down on the kid who's acing the test. It's like, oh, you're not doing your homework, but you're getting A's. Like, you know what I mean? But the kids who are failing though and not doing their homework, those are the kids you got to kind of focus on. Like, yo, maybe if you do your homework, you might be able to get what we're teaching in class. I don't think you can kind of get rid of it because again, we are, humans that we gotta see shit over and over again sometimes. Like that's how propaganda works now, really. It's like you see it over and over again, you believe it.
Speaking
It
of
must be true.
propaganda, how are we doing in results?
Yes. The only
Results?
reason why I'm still here. We got to shut this thing down. What are we doing?
We have chicken wings.
What's going on with Herschel?
Herschel,
Yeah, where we
yes,
at? Where we
Herschel,
at?
that's the race.
You really think Herschel Walker is a race? I can't even understand this. I'm so blown away by the fact that
So
how many people care about
bro,
Herschel
do you
Walker.
know how many people
This is crazy to me.
and this is the reason why. Okay, Georgia,
Tell me why.
Atlanta. It is
Crazy to me.
It is the mecca of black voters right
I
now.
said the same thing 2 hours ago.
It is
I
complete
get
mecca
you.
right
I
now.
get you.
Maybe we
Right.
should be streaming GSL. He's
If
got live
Herschel
election
Walker
news.
wins, the amount of money and effort they put into pretty much brainwashing black folks into not voting for this guy, into believing in this dude.
Yeah,
was
but how much
selling
did they
everything.
put money behind him? I guarantee it wasn't that much.
Oh, I guarantee it
Right.
was.
So
no
you
one
think
knew.
so?
No one knew about that race until they started
who
really.
didn't know about Herschel Walker race?
Bro, like the average person did not know
All right.
Herschel Walker was even in politics.
Are you serious?
The average person,
You think so?
the average Democratic voter didn't know. But I bet you, okay, consciously aware, independent, and conservative Republican voters
That's
did.
the difference right there. Is the
That
fact
is
that
the difference,
you
and
have
they
to get Democrats
lost.
to vote for you. You can't reside or you can't rely on Republicans.
You
solely,
right, but you can
or
rely
Republicans
on
and independents.
You can rely on
You
independents.
can't.
You
New
have
York
to. You
proves
have no
it.
choice because you can't with the
New
left.
York proves
Bro,
it.
do you know how hard it is to convince a freaking Democrat
Trust me, I know.
anything?
Yes.
Yes.
Trust me, I know. I know it. I know exactly how to. I know exactly how it is. That's literally my life.
I feel bad.
Is that
man.
a dead heat
Where?
with Walker right there?
Yeah,
Georgia,
it was a dead heat from the beginning. Yeah, 40. It was
48
like
and a half
Yeah.
each.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, oh, is it 49?
They're not
and a
going
half?
to call that until that's going to be one of those.
My assistant said he should have been on the podcast tonight for the gay voice because the gays love Hochul, I guess.
Of course you do. Of course you guys
I don't
do.
You've
understand
invited him all
Wait,
the
are
time.
you-
though.
wait,
Why doesn't
wait.
he come
he
on?
won't because he won't talk. He talks.
Okay.
He talks a whole bunch of junk behind the scenes.
Right.
He ain't gonna talk. He'd
Right.
come on here. He was on the podcast. My very first podcast.
I thought that was Mary Lupian.
He was on with her.
I
Oh,
don't
of
remember him
course.
being on too.
He was. He was
Really?
sitting in the seat that you're sitting in.
Makes sense.
Okay.
What's going on?
It all makes sense, Jose. It
What's
all
going on
makes
with Oz
sense.
and Fetterman? We haven't talked
Oh,
about
that was
Oz.
a good
God.
one.
What's
Yeah,
going on with
yeah.
that?
Can we
Yeah.
talk about that for 1 second?
Yes, bring
I
that up.
watched him this morning walk in to vote Fetterman. For the love of God.
Did he
In
have his sweatshirt?
Did he walk
hoodie on?
in or did
yes,
he?
he
have a-
did.
did he
And
come in
but
on
here
a-
was the kicker, Tom. He had his fucking basketball shorts on.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
gosh.
Uh-huh.
What a
what a
clown.
class
He
act,
is
huh?
a
Really?
class act.
So what's
I'm
that
calling
on
him a
that?
class
What does it
act after
say?
I said his fucking basketball
City
shorts.
Council is
But-
also talking about the election results not being in yet.
Okay.
Fetterman's
Well, good for
ahead by
them.
3
They're
points.
saying how like
Good.
why
Send
is
him my
this-
love. Ask him when they're going to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Who's that?
too.
Fetterman?
Why you got
He's
him on
ahead
the
by
horn.
3 points. But what's the
All
percent
right,
of the vote in there?
Austin, you got to change the graphics, but I appreciate
Yeah,
the
my eyes,
concept.
my eyes aren't.
I knew it. I
Yeah.
knew it.
Uh-huh.
I knew it. I knew it.
Not tonight.
Anyways, Herschel Walker's going to lose. We know that.
You think so?
Absolutely.
That's,
Mm.
Zeldin's going to lose as well. Sorry.
Yeah, Zeldin's gonna lose.
He's going to get his ass whooped.
You think so?
Absolutely.
What the fuck, man? How are people that?
Absolutely.
6 million registered Democrats.
I talk to I talk to Democrats every single day. Every single day. I know how they think. I know how they walk.
Tom, wait a minute. Whose
What?
glasses do you have?
Yeah, these are dollar stores. They were in my car. You like them? They're good, huh?
Hey.
I think my real glasses
Austin,
got,
put the other graphic
Long
back
as they
up.
work,
my
He's
real
got
glasses
sequins
got
on.
buried in my pool. I think the concrete
In the-
got buried in there.
In your hot tub?
Yeah.
He's got the sequins on him, though.
Oh yeah, they're
Yeah,
nice.
It's okay. Don't
Yo,
put it back on.
they're
I want you to
literally
see.
about
They're
to give
nice.
us if the House and the
There's
Senate
not going to be a
wins-
single red wave in New York.
no,
No,
but,
It's not going to be a single
maybe
red wave
LaRon.
anywhere.
If
I know,
the
but what good?
House-
See, that's the thing. If people wanted to get behind LaRon, I get it, but it takes the whole package.
No. If people want to get behind change in New York,
Okay.
that's what blows my
Yes,
mind. When I
okay.
ask them, okay, when you say you want things to change,
Right.
does that mean you're going to change your vote?
Right.
No.
Rochester is the blueprint because listen,
For everything. Everything.
Zeldin spent the shitload of time up here. Pinion spent the shitload of time up here. They spent enough time up here to where they know that as far as a grassroots on anything, Rochester has it outside Buffalo.
I think
no,
the suburbs
Buffalo
do.
and
The
Syracuse-
city
No,
proper.
Buffalo and
Nope, I
Syracuse
disagree.
are
I disagree.
not-
I disagree
are not
altogether.
where-
Let me tell you exactly right now what's happening. Democrats are just way better at getting the vote out in Rochester. Simply put,
Yes.
they will show up with bus full loads of people.
because you know all they
Yeah.
gotta
Because
do.
no, you know what they do? They go to the nursing homes and get them out of fucking geriatric bed and say you gotta
Yo,
go
guess
vote.
what they about to do?
Right.
But
They
it's
about to
all
take-
money,
they about
money,
to- I'm not
money.
They about to go to a
Uh-huh.
senior citizen home and say they about to take away your right to have an abortion. You're 90 years
You know
old and
that-
you won't be able to have an abortion.
No, but they do say that they're
They
going to
do
cut your
that. They're
social
gonna-
security check.
Oh, they gonna
Oh,
they
yeah,
do
yeah,
that.
that's some
They do
Even
that.
though
Yeah.
Biden said it for years,
Yeah.
for decades, that he was
Yeah.
going to cut Social
Yeah.
Security.
Don't let the facts get involved in
It
this
irks
conversation.
me. It irks me how many conversations you know.
And we're
how many
gonna make sure that no one
conversations I have
steals an
that,
election
like,
again.
Oh, by the way, Obama has already trademarked the phrase change, so Republicans can't use it.
What?
you can't trademark the name
How the
change.
fuck do you do that?
Because that was Obama's thing.
No,
Yo,
it's
he
gotta-
stole,
no, it has to be
he
in
stole
combination
that.
with-
He stole that from
No.
Clinton and Gore.
right?
No, it has
That
to be in
was the change
combination with
election.
a
Everybody
color
can't
scheme.
use change, right? Can
No,
we come
no,
up
no,
with
that's
something
not it.
different?
That's not it.
So was
It has to be in combination with somebody else.
Doesn't
Um,
Michael Jackson
Jesse
just own that
Jackson was a
anyway?
change
Yeah.
candidate too. Jesse Jackson was a change candidate. How are you going to do that?
Is it Michael Jackson?
No, Jesse
Oh.
Jackson when he ran against Reagan.
All right.
Are we going to get final results in yet or no?
Yeah,
because
we-
we've been on for 3 and
Almost 4. Yeah, it's too long.
75 tenths of a.
Can we blow that up for the
And
common
I have a
people to see
drinking
it?
problem right now.
Zoom in. You gotta zoom in. File. Zoom in.
I thought for sure we would have it by 10 o'clock.
Wait a minute.
And we would be-
Oh, there we go. There we go.
Oh my gosh.
All right. What are they?
Colorado is going blue.
Walker's got the lead, 83%.
Where are you looking at? Hold on.
Yeah, yeah, right at the
49.6 to
top.
Wow, look at
49.6.
Rubio balling.
Do you really think Walker's going to win?
What about
Yes.
Pennsylvania? Fetterman.
Not at
That,
all.
come on. Who's
That's
really?
crazy.
That's bullshit. But yeah, see, it's only 62.
Well, all the buses haven't gone to.
How is that
Philadelphia
dude
yet.
up?
Fake
Hold
ballots.
on. Let me talk to you about this person I talked to earlier who's in the Democratic Party who is elected official. I asked this person if you could change your state or your area to vote against somebody. Because the first question was, who are you excited to vote for? Let me give you their answer. Their answer was Jeremy Cooney. And I said, okay, if you could change where you could vote in order to vote against somebody, bless you, who would you vote against? And that person's answer was DeSantis. And it blew me away. It absolutely
Say
blew
that
me away.
again. What was it? They vote against DeSantis?
Why?
I said, if you could
Where's the
change
line?
if you could change the area in which you can vote in order to vote against somebody,
Mhm.
like you must hate somebody that much.
And they wanted to vote against DeSantis.
DeSantis.
Okay.
Damn,
All right.
bro.
So they're already manipulating the minds. Should our other
So
friend
this
not be
person-
there?
this
The
person-
second one.
This person I
Right.
see as a very centrist Democrat. So you have to
Yeah,
see
there you
how.
go. There you see. Yeah.
So you have to see how New York is going to be.
Propaganda's a hell of a drug,
It's
man.
okay.
Like I see
how it's
myself
gonna
as a
be.
very centrist Democrat, but I also
How the fuck did Pataki win then?
that was 25 years
It
ago.
doesn't matter. How did he win? What was it? Was it
The crack epidemic.
No. When did Pataki get elected? Was this during the Bush
94,
administration?
96.
Before then,
No,
right?
What was it?
82,
Tom?
84.
Pataki?
When was Pataki elected? I don't think it was that long ago.
No, wait. Pataki was like late 90s, early 2000s.
I voted for him.
When was?
But what did he run off of?
He liked hookers.
And who was his opponent? And this was after Cuomo, right?
I don't know.
Oh my gosh, Tom, you
Tom,
are
good lord.
you are supposed to come
I-
with that
94.
knowledge.
I was
94.
94.
born Republican. I vote Republican. That's the way it
so,
works.
all right. So he,
Oh, you're a
he-
Republican?
but he was there.
I'm
he
a
was in
registered
office for how many
Republican.
years?
I don't know.
I vote
Pataki
on the
was there for
conservative
2
line,
terms,
though.
right? He was there for
He
2
was,
terms.
yeah.
Yeah.
So what the fuck happened?
Business, big
Didn't-
business, money.
So they got a lot of influence on these
90s was
elections. huh?
booming. Remember, 90s was
No,
booming.
no, no, no.
Only
So
2%.
so what happened to where he got, to where no Republican could ever win again in this state? None.
No, the problem is that everybody left.
I don't think. I think
Yeah, they all live in
Zeldin-
Florida or Tennessee.
Right. They all left.
I think
Right. And now,
Zeldin-
right now, they're finally seeing that they should have stayed
And voted.
and voted. This is why I'm so pissed off at so many of my friends that I know left for the right reasons. I get it. They left for their family,
Right. The kids.
just
right.
left us behind
for the
huh?
kids, and I get it. Trust me. Jaden is no longer in our house.
Right.
He lives in Florida
Right.
because of New York policies.
Yeah.
Right.
That's how much. That's where I stand.
It's personal.
I tried to,
Right,
I
it is
tried to
very
take
personal.
mine
Right.
away. I tried to save mine, but they chose otherwise.
Nick,
I tried to take him out. I did not.
bro,
I was so close to moving to
take
Florida,
this
bro.
Very personal.
Right during the pandemic, I was literally like, I'm still on my way to motherfucking Florida, bro.
I'm still looking for land. I'm gonna
We're not
build myself
leaving.
a tiny cabin.
I'm looking for lad.
I'm looking for land. No, not
Oh,
here
Michelle,
in Pennsylvania.
You get your 2 acres?
that nice.
We got a safe.
I'm waiting for my
Yeah.
40
You're
acres.
right.
Uh-huh.
You're right.
We
But
got-
the safe in Florida gonna be much
No.
bigger though.
We got the safe.
We got a whole
All right, we're gonna have to probably finish this
armory.
somewhere else because Austin
Let's
needs
talk
to go
about
to work in the morning.
Kanye and John Leguizamo.
Easy.
I think it's that time.
Yay.
Oh man, but I did send Austin some pictures that we did not go through.
Okay. Can we just
That we're not gonna
can
go
we
through.
just
Austin,
give a
don't
little
worry.
love locally though first? Can we give a little love to our local candidates?
Laurent's going to
All
pull
of
this
them?
off.
Well,
I think so.
All of them
Laurent's
are
going
gonna
to pull
be
this out
very-
tonight.
I think
no,
so.
I'm going to be biased.
Okay, you're gonna be biased.
Yes.
You're
Do
gonna
it.
be biased. I'll be unbiased. Go ahead.
All right. Well, I'm not prepared for this, but I'm just going to just say.
Well, you said it.
I know, but I think what Laurent did.
Yes, I agree.
Yes. Okay. Okay. I'm going to talk about what my own ballot looked like. Right?
Sure. I know what it looks like. You sent me the picture.
And I almost
Is that
freaking
legal?
crashed my car after that because
I
you
know.
go, did I just fuck that up?
I said, I was like, oh my God, you just voted
Scared me.
all the
I'm
way down the line
driving Ringman. I'm like,
Democrat.
And Chief Van Brederode, right? Jim Van Brederode. I mean, if you haven't met him, he's the most genuine man. And God bless. I hope to see him win tonight too.
I love him personally.
Okay. And
He has beating Jeremy Cooney is
He's in a tough district there.
yeah, but it's like Jeremy Cooney beating Robach.
right. But
Like he had an uphill battle and he had to run twice in order to win. So
But I thought Robot, he pulled out anyway. He wasn't.
yeah, Robach won. What I'm saying is
Yeah,
Jeremy
right,
Cooney
right.
took 2 times
Right.
to beat Joe
But
Robach,
Jer-
a
okay.
Republican.
Jose, don't
Jeremy
they
Cooney
change
does not
the-
represent me.
But
Can I just
Jose,
say
don't
that?
they
It's
change
me.
these districts after every 4 years anyways?
He's
Are
my
they really
representative.
similar?
He does not represent me.
All right, so let me tell you something right now. I'm gonna give you the
The
inside info on
gerrymandering in all these
about
districts.
redistricting right now. Right now, you can run in this next upcoming election, which is my district. It will be up for election. Anyone can run for any district at all because of redistricting. So you can run against anybody that
Michelle's
you hate.
going to run against you in a primary.
Oh yeah,
Jose.
absolutely. You should. You could run for the Northeast district against Mike Patterson if you wanted to.
What about Mary Lupien's?
You can run against Mary Lupian if you wanted to.
Okay.
I would.
You would have to live in that district after you win, though, within a certain amount of time.
Stop smiling.
No, that can't happen.
It'd be strange. So I'm excited to see who's going to run for Northwest district because I'd be
Me too. Because I am Northwest.
right.
I would want to see, because again, whoever it is, if they come out with a lot of media attention, you up against a machine.
They would have to start already. That's the thing. Like you better start already because I'm going to get behind somebody that's
that
going to
Soros
be
money is deep, bro.
I don't care about Soros.
Oh,
I want somebody to replace. I want somebody to replace me that is good at the job.
Soros, but Soros money has been really manipulating this city.
I can't think of anybody that lives in our district, Jose, that would represent us like you do.
Nobody?
No.
There's what? 20,000 people in
No,
there?
not-
There's got to be
not
somebody.
52,000.
Yeah.
52,000.
And
There's-
not
there's
just
gotta
me,
be
yeah.
another-
Downgrade my freaking
There's got
beautiful
to be
district.
Let's talk
another
about our
Jose
assembly
Pio
people.
somewhere.
There's not one in the entire world.
So our assembly
State
people for tonight, right? I wish them all well too. I think we all
Yes.
had great people for state assembly. So
Marcus has a tough battle because Damon, he dresses well and he represents the non-eviction people, and he got arrested allegedly.
Right. And Harry Bronson's pretty much unbeatable, right?
Yeah. If you look,
I don't think
exactly.
anybody's unbeatable. If you got to try. You can't just let him.
They said
give it.
they said the
Orlando
same thing about
Rivera
the
is
person I was
mine,
running
and
against. The person I
he
ran
got my
against
vote.
was Lovely Warren's girl. It was her second time running. She only lost by 75 votes the first time. She had the backing and support of the fire department, the police department, the teachers union, She outspent me 4-1.
Yeah, but that's a primary, right? That's a whole different thing in
Yes.
general.
Yes. You just got to beat the person in primary. You just got to outwork the person. You got to want it more. Simply put, want it more.
The
I mean, even
majority-
last night, Tom, in our monthly meeting at First Just Shalat, and they say to him when they speak to him, they're like, "That's why we voted for you, Jose." I mean, that's the words
Right.
that they're using.
That's
I mean,
good.
They know that he's representing them.
Yeah, that's
We-
why I'm
more
that's why I'm
years.
leaving
But
your
people
side.
don't know why they
more
vote for
years.
these other motherfuckers.
4 more years.
They don't know why they vote. They just vote for them because they Democrat. I just voted for you because you Democrat. I just voted
That's
for you
probably
because
why. They're just like, no, trust me.
No,
No.
No, I
People that
don't.
show
I
up-
do not think these are the Democratic.
They're not.
I'm talking about-
We got to turn the lights off in this place.
I'm talking about the other.
Look awesome. Look at him. Look at the way he's acting right now. He's like my
Poor
dog
guy.
when I haven't taken him out.
Hello.
Yeah, which are
I love you,
my
Austin.
looks.
Start that again.
All right.
Hello.
It's a wrap. I have a drinking problem. We need
All
to
right.
get to the Marriott.
First of all,
Laurent
shout out to
Singletary's
Kyrie
gonna
Irving.
win.
Shout out to
Shout
Kyrie.
out.
No matter what
Yes.
anybody says, he did not say
He didn't
anything
say
wrong.
nothing. Nope. Don't
Nothing
let
at
don't
all.
let the media pull you another way.
Shout out to Kanye, who is the mouth,
Easy.
Yes.
and fuck John Lewis.
Ooh.
Ooh.
He
All
fell
right.
off.
Hit that funky
fell out of
music.
grace.
God bless. Be kind to others.